Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games.
That's a pretty big podcast.
For you. KZ Excellent.
Blah, 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 blah.
And Mr. Feel.
I'm gonna funge your token.
Here on GigaBoots.
In life, not many things, not many people or things get second chances. But I decided to be generous, and I gave the McRib a second chance.
What an idiot.
God, I can't believe you.
The way you came into this house, I'm cooking something. I hear the garage door open. I'm like, oh, they were out. Okay, I didn't know where they were. Comes in, he's like, oh, it sucks that you're cooking because I brought you something. And I went, what? Opens the bag, shows me the McRib, the equivalent of a dog bringing me a dead bird. And I'm like, this was not for me. You're right.
I was gonna cut it in half and give you half of it.
Oh.
Doesn't that sound fantastic? Half a McRib?
No, we should just bite at both ends like Lady and the Tramp.
No, that's the only way a McRib could get worse.
You don't need to do that at all. It's so soft, you can just pull it in half.
That's true.
Right?
I don't know. It's kind of like pulling apart a West sponge. I feel like that might be difficult. Bob, you also ate a McRib, correct?
Unfortunately, yes. I forgot how big it was.
I hate that every time I come in this house, the McRibs are here. I leave my room right before we start, and Bob waves, and I'm like, he is not holding a fucking McRib.
I saw the provocation on Discord. Like Dan said, Dan said he's eating McRib. I guess that means we all have to eat McRib.
I hated that Phil fucking said that. He's like, do I have to eat a McRib before tomorrow? And I just run into the living room and go, Dan, your actions have consequences.
Luckily, I decided, no, I won't.
At least this time they put less sauce on it, so it wasn't as much of a nightmare as the first time, where it was just
you can taste the sponge.
Yes,
yeah, it's the textural equivalent of somebody made a sponge out of compounded meat. I don't know how to meat concentrate, and then soaked it in barbecue sauce.
It's like you get a stand mixer. You get a stand mixer, and you throw like ground pork and a couple other ground things in there, and just let the paddle attachment go for like an hour.
And like a little piece of like stucco and...
What if Spam was really loose?
What if Spam was even worse? What if it was just the absolute worst thing imaginable? God.
But it's not salty. It doesn't have any extra flavor.
No, in fact, you wouldn't describe anything about it as having a spice or flavor to it.
Not really, no. It's like the most plain... This is pork.
They might as well cover it in ketchup, right?
Yeah.
Like fucking shit.
I mean, the barbecue sauce is the only thing that does have flavor, so I commend them for having
It doesn't have
anything.
that much flavor, though. It still feels like I'm chugging ketchup while just eating this sponge.
Yes.
Ugh, fucking McRib. I agree with my earlier assessment. 3, it is on the verge of I feel sick having eaten this. 2 is I feel distinctly sick, and 1 is I am very sick. Anyway, we got that out of the way. That's done.
Thank God.
Do we have any other food bits? Feel?
Yes.
My name's Feel. I ate food that isn't a fucking McRib.
Good.
That's true. I ate the Reese's Big Cup potato chip, which is it is a Reese's Big Cup that has potato chips crushed up inside the filling.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought it'd be like a layer of potato chips under the filling.
No, it's just crushed up inside it, and you'd think. Here's a double pack. I only ate one though. I only bought one.
Yeah, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
You can't really taste the potato chip. You get a little bit more salt, which is nice because salt on sweet is fine.
Yeah.
But then it just has like the world's most unsettling texture.
Oh no!
Because it's like a Reese's Big Cup with these tiny shards of crunchiness. Like they're so ethereal. So you get that crunch, but you don't get like the volume that tells your brain it's okay to keep eating. Like it because like they make a variant with like pretzel pieces in it, which I'm sure is better than this. Or like if they had like chunks of like hard toffee or something, that would also be fine. But it's just like you're just chewing and it's like little tiny crunches all through it. And it's like I honestly thought while I was eating it, like Oh, next time I'm gonna get the boneless Reese's.
Yo!
Feels eating it, and he sounds like the kid from The Simpsons. He's like, "There's pieces of fiberglass in my candy."
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Like,
You don't have
it just made it worse. It added no flavor. It just added an unsettling texture.
That's so weird. It makes me think of, you know, how astronauts have to worry about microscopic space dust going through their suit.
Uh-huh.
It's like that, but with your mouth.
Ooh.
We need a clean room.
Yes.
You know, I was really interested in this until you described it. I was like, okay, yeah, I could see how the flavor might be neat to have in there. And then you're like, yeah, it exists just enough to concern you texturally. And I'm like, oh, no.
But yeah, that's my food moment with the really unsettling candy bar.
God. Well, you know, I was envious, but now that you've described it, I'm kind of like, I'm good. I might still
take
do
the
it.
known
No,
pain.
I still want you to go get some.
But are you going to eat it?
Yes. 100%. I'll have the whole thing. I won't stop at like one of those little things. I'll finish.
Each one is 2. That's a king size. You're not supposed to eat more than one of them.
Says you.
Limits are made to be broken.
As Casey shatters through the glass ceiling of serving sizes.
of his body producing insulin.
Yes.
That's a really bad glass ceiling to bust through. Holy shit.
Yeah, but it means I win.
No, actually, considering you live in America, that is very much not the case.
Hell yeah, USA. USA.
See, I feel like they could have made a much better Reese's if they just put those large grain of salt on it and then just made the milk chocolate like a little bit more dark chocolatey. Then you'd get the saltiness that they're going for here. Yeah.
They make they're getting bored. Reese's is getting bored now, so they're making goofy shit.
Oh, yeah.
where it's
They're so bored.
There are at least 10 new iterations of Reese's over the last year.
I think I saw something like a protein Reese's.
What?
No, I have not seen that.
Here's the Reese's peanut butter lovers, where the chocolate covering it is half peanut butter. And here's the peanut butter maniacs Reese's, where the whole thing is peanut butter.
Yeah, I tried that peanut butter maniac one. I think it was 6 months ago or something. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's goofy. They don't know what to do. They're just like, we got to have 8 new products a day.
yeah, there was that one we had for a while there. I forget the actual name, but we just kept calling it the Itchy Tasty Bar
That one's really good though.
because it was like crunchy something. Yeah, that was actually really good. Most of these Reese's ones are not exceptional.
That potato chip thing had a real itchy, tasty mouth feel to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where like it feels like it feels like you're just eating through soft bone.
Oh no!
You know, like when there's that parts of like a chicken breast from KFC that you can like eat the bone.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Are you telling me the next flavor of Reese's has bone marrow in it?
Oh no!
They're like,
The
guys,
Guga Foods flavor of Reese's.
now this is an excellent one.
CPB, chocolate, peanut butter, bone. Man,
It's the next Spider-Man game has him go. It's like chocolate and bone marrow.
Oh, come on, man!
oh, please, Spidey, stop.
Stop.
I dry aged this incredible Wagyu brisket in Reese's peanut butter.
In Reese's peanut butter, let's check out how it tastes.
It's chewy.
Well, I'm back, and my wife left me.
I couldn't buy house's salt. I don't know. I think it has more to do with the Reese's peanut butter, though.
Like you're playing Phasmophobia. You're just leaving tiny piles of salt around, hoping a ghost footprint appears in it. Anyway, we should move on from this. Bob and I, for the spooky holiday weekend, we played the Order 1886.
Oh God.
Man, that game is so much worse than I remember it being terrible and disappointing. I did not remember it being nearly terrible enough for how bad it is. I don't know how that thing got as good of reviews as it did. Like, I know there's money in it, but plot-wise, it's the most boring thing fucking possible. Gameplay-wise, it's so stale. Like, Bob, they had the arc gun.
Uh-huh.
What was the other idea? That was it.
The
There are
thermite
two.
gun.
The thermite gun. That's it. Those are the only ideas in the game.
Yeah, most of the game is just using regular gun in a very poor, just average feeling third-person shooter. Like, nowhere near what you expect from a Sony game.
Right.
Like, this is so far below Uncharted, it's funny.
Yeah, and it's funny because they started developing this when Uncharted 2 came out. Like, they made Daxter, and then they started working on this back when Uncharted 2 came out. Like, it took, 6 years? And you just sit there and go, wow. Yikes.
Yeah.
It's a yikes from me, fam.
Yeah. There's not much else to say other than, man, that story sucks. Man, the ending sucks even more. It could have been a really cool world, but then they forgot to write compelling characters, and they have hours of cutscenes. Hours of cutscenes.
Yeah, it's really rough. Somehow that many hours of cutscenes, we don't develop any character.
Yeah. It's okay, Bob. Define Galahad. Use words to describe Galahad.
He's got a mustache.
Ooh, like Ted Lasso?
Yeah, a lot like that, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. If you just swapped out Galahad for Ted Lasso, this game would go up multiple points. Because everyone else
At least it would be anything.
Yeah, everyone else is still British. So it works.
Yeah, if he were the one guy from the U.S. who got indoctrinated to the Knight's Order.
Oh, wow. Lycan. Over in America, we call those werewolves.
Or werewolves, whichever.
Werewolves. It depends on whether or not you're the AVGN.
Question, Dan. Do you think us talking about this, our demographic for 55-year-old men's going to go up?
Talking about Ted Lasso or The Order?
Yes.
55-year-old guys don't know Apple TV Plus exists.
Yeah, and Ted Lasso is like much more like a people roughly our age thing.
Like
maybe some younger Gen Xers who know how to use a computer.
Younger Gen Xers, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. That would be a great swap. I wish I could make that team swap right now, Bob. But unfortunately, the Order 1886 does not have a Ted Lasso.
No.
They have a Galahad, and he's bad, and everything's bad.
They'll make a PS5 version, and the Ted Lasso mode will be one of the features.
And the best part is he'll just quit nonstop, and you'll be like, "Wow, I've never played a video game that got better when the character wouldn't shut up."
God,
he's just constantly going to be saying shit about England. And it's going to be like, yeah, what an upgrade. Because right now, in the original game, nothing was happening and everything's gray. This is the grayest video game, I think, ever.
Probably. It's real hard to see.
It just looks fake.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have stunning, top-of-the-line post-processing and visuals combined with the grayest video game ever and gameplay that looks underdeveloped. Like, normally, if you have a game that expensive, there are gameplay ideas. They didn't have any of those here, so. Yeah, that's a shame, considering Daxter was so good. That was like my favorite Jak and Daxter game coming out of that month. Didn't see that fucking coming. Those first two levels are so low rank compared to everything else. I mean, shit, one of them doesn't even play music.
That's rough.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with the beginning of that game of, we should scare everyone away. But yeah, Daxter was really good. I didn't get to talk about that last week because I was sick. So then we did our Halloween stream 2 days later. We beat D, or D's Diner, or D no Shoku Tuck on the PS1, which is also on the Saturn and 3DO, weirdly enough. That game is really great. When that VOD goes up, be sure to watch it because it has a really compelling story.
Yeah, the game's all of like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Totally worth sitting down and watching.
I think we beat it in 2 hours, and we had to redo disc 1.
Yes, we did a whole disc again.
That game is 3 discs and an hour and a half long.
How did they convince anyone to publish this?
I don't know. I guess it was early enough in the PS1 that it was like, oh, we get a game?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were just thrilled to get to publish a PS1 game. Because not too many developers had one of those spun up yet, and they wanted to cash in on the popularity there. Yeah, that's D's great. It has really great voice acting. It had it for the Western release.
You wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't.
We really wouldn't know that this was added only for the US. It's that level of jank. Like, oh, this has to just be they dubbed it in Japan.
Yeah, it matches perfectly with the rest of it. I don't think any part of it looks weird or out of place.
No.
Like, I don't sit here and go, this voice acting quality is really weird compared to the rest. No, they're all the same cloth, right? But yeah, they originally in Japan had the father who takes over a hospital and goes on a massacring rampage just be portrayed via text over his flapping mouth.
And floating head, yeah.
And floating transparent head as you exist in his mind castle and solve Myst-like puzzles. Myst but dumb.
Yeah, this is the most insanely rudimentary adventure game ever made.
It was really good. We've actually been looking forward to streaming D for 2 years. We didn't get to do it in Halloween 2019 or 2020, but this year we got it. And then we moved on to Shadowgate, which was great, and we need to say nothing else, right, Bob?
Sure, we could just move right along because, oh man, Shadowgate sure is a game.
Watch that VOD.
That playthrough was really fun.
It's the first time I've ever seen the game all the way through.
It's my first time in a while seeing the game all the way through. I used to play it a lot on my Game Boy Color on trips and stuff.
Yeah, you need a guide, basically. It's so like asinine what they want of you at some points.
You just bash everything against everything else and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I've owned the remake for a while, and they added a mechanic where it's like, if you don't light this certain type of torch enough or often enough, you'll go insane or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. Like, you're basically always fighting away a specter. So you need to ration normal torches and special torches. And I'm like, did we really need another layer? Did we?
Yeah, this game's already kind of a nightmare.
That remake looks visually really good, though. After that, we played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And aside from that, Bob and I got a copy from Renaissance PR of the new Fabraz game, Demon Turf. We checked it out on the PS5. Hey, Bob.
Hey.
We're going to talk about Demon Turf.
Sure, I got some notes.
To brutally describe it broadly so people can know what we're talking about. So it's about this demon girl who is a 2D asset in a 3D platformer world. Whole thing is kind of purplish. Has real spunk. I was trying to remind Tosh of this game, my girlfriend, and I'm like, yeah, it's a. You remember that 3D platformer had the demon girl? She's really spunky. She's like, oh yeah. Yeah. I was like, there we go. Okay.
Okay, I was like, are you going to have to say that she's sassy? Is that going to trigger it?
Quirky?
I didn't quite use the word sassy. I used some other word that was adjacent to that and spunky, and she picked up on it immediately. But yeah, it's 3D platformer, et cetera, et cetera. Bob, did you know the MSRP of this game going in?
I knew the vague area that it was going to be, but I didn't find out until today exactly how much, because that's when it actually went up on stores.
Yeah, that was the thing. Steam and the PlayStation Store did not let me know how much this game was going to be. Apparently, Switch and Xbox did.
Okay.
Ahead of launch. It is $25.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Start talking.
Sure. It's very Mario 64 inspired, I think, but the levels are super linear.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to a new level, you unlock a whole new hub each time a new level unlocks, and each one's filled with all these little levels that are very linear. And the only thing you deviate within the level is to find cake, and they're like the extra collectibles in there.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself wanting various things from it. Like I thought the whole first set of levels that the game was actually bad. But then I found out about the mod shop that lets you increase your speed, because your walk speed to start with is insanely slow.
Yeah, it is too slow.
It's like, I don't know what you were thinking with this.
Which is weird, because even after you upgrade your speed, I feel like it's still too slow for combat, which this game, as Bob was saying, Mario 64 inspired mechanically, but very linear levels. Instead of going to a level 7 times for 7 stars, you'll go to a level and beat it to get 1 battery.
Yes.
And there are 3 cakes on your first visit to a level, to get extras and collectibles, buy cosmetics, etc. And then there's sweets, which I will more on that later.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I by the end of this, Bob.
Yeah.
The way I thought about it was this is the platformer that has most made me think. Like, this is probably the only one that made me think. This is a platformer made by Mario 64 ROM hack enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Because it feels like someone went, the mechanics of Mario 64 are neat. What if I made it really difficult in bizarre ways? Like truly bizarre ways. You get a decent bit into the game before you unlock flying. But I feel like flying is one of the most like frustrating in how it wants you to do it. Mechanics.
I think the tutorial lies to you.
I think that is a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like once I started doing it, what was working, I was like, this is nothing like that tutorial said.
Yeah. What I found out is, when you hit the airlifts, hold up on the right stick and you seem to go higher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if you hit 2 in a row and do that, it just breaks their design because you go up insanely fucking high. Because imagine when you hit, okay, so you're controlling your pitch on this bird, up and down with the right stick, okay? But you have a bounding box. You can only pull up so high. When you hit the lift, it will raise how high you can go. If you hit 2 in a row, they stack. So you can just fly almost straight up if you hit 2 in a row. And it allows you to glide over the third one entirely. I don't think it feels great. I kind of hate the bird. The flight in this feels terrible. I think the game's lesser for having it.
Yeah, I got used to it, but it didn't feel good. The only turf power I actually like is the wheel. I feel like the rest can just not be in the game.
Okay.
And the game would probably be better for it.
So there are 4 turf powers. You get a turf power from beating each turf. The structure of this game, I will go more into it later. But broadly, you were defeating 4 turfs to go fight the Demon King because you're a spunky demon girl, and that's what you do. You're a young 1,000-year-old demon girl.
Oh, did that come up at some point?
Some guy says you look like you're 1,000 years old, so you can't get into the club. You need to be at least 2,100 years old.
Okay.
Then she's like, dang, well, I bet your music sucks anyways. And he's like, actually, this band is playing for us live. And she's like, oh, I like them. The dialogue in this is pretty funny. I find by and large talking to NPCs was a pretty good source of like joy in this game. The really disheartening part is when at some point I feel like it starts ratcheting up how often you'll run into an NPC. Like you'll beat a level, you get to the end where the exit is and the battery is, and you'll run into an NPC who says something about the world or whatever. You have funny dialogue exchange and you leave. And then as the game goes on, you realize like more and more often you're going to be running into an identical guy in 4 different levels.
Yeah, I stopped talking to a lot of NPCs when I hit like 2 or 3 in a row. It's like, this is the exact same dialogue. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's really disheartening.
Yeah.
Did that happen in their Japan level?
I believe so. I think that it might just be the first 2 levels have more unique dialogue.
Yeah, I feel like it literally slides the whole way through the game.
Yeah.
So like the first 2 turfs really are just, there's more unique dialogue with NPCs in them. What was the name of the Japan level? New Neo something?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think it might have even just been Neo Turf.
Masters.
Yes.
Totally. When it comes to the game structure, I'm now going to describe it so that way maybe my tone is a bit more understood in my mild disappointment with this game. To fight the Demon King, you need 50 batteries. There are 4 turfs. In each turf, there are 7 levels. When you beat all the levels and then you beat the turf master, it recycles the levels into a mildly different version that's slightly harder, and you can get another battery now. So for anyone who's not keeping track, that is 7 times 2 times 4. There are 56 batteries possible in this game, meaning you have to do both visits of every level but 6 of them in order to hit the end of this game.
The spirit of Looney Tunes back in action. The video
Looney Tunes
game.
back in action have 50 hyper-linear levels, though. Oh, and in case this isn't coming across in my description, there are 4 turfs, meaning there are 4 aesthetics for 50 levels.
You know, that's almost close to Looney Tunes, where it's just there are 5 levels with 6 jiggies. You can miss 3.
It's just I feel like asking someone to do 14 levels in a 3D platformer where these levels on your first playthrough aren't exactly short. Like they'll take maybe up to 12 or 20 minutes, depending on how challenging it is. Some of them will take less, obviously. Asking people to do 14 levels in a single aesthetic is not great.
Yeah, it's super weird. It feels like the game's plenty long without doing those.
Oh, yeah.
It took me like 8 to 10 hours to get through just the regular versions of the levels.
I mean, yeah, it took me 13 to beat the game.
Yeah, so it's like you could have just had the final boss unlocked then. You don't need to make me go do all these revisits. Like, it just seems weird.
Yeah, it kind of sucked the joy out of it for me because I feel like they didn't have... Well, for one, I hate the bird mechanic.
Yeah.
I can tolerate it. I got good enough at it eventually to not just be livid with it, but I don't think it feels good. Like, physics-wise, they didn't really program it to feel great, right? If you're going to have a flying mechanic in a game, like Mario 64, Super Mario World, other things with flying mechanics, it should probably feel solid.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't feel great. Exiting Bird is always a mystery to me. Because sometimes she'll launch super far, and other times it feels like she hardly moves, and she's plummets and dies.
I actually never had that happen. Basically, every time I came out of it, it felt like I was just launched out of a cannon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish the flying felt better. The demon wheel that you can turn into, which is like your fast charge mechanic in this. You become a serpent eating its own tail, and you just spin rapidly. That thing's cool, and they have some neat levels around it.
Yeah, again, that's the only one that I feel like really is solid. It even has like a cool drifting mechanic to it, where you pop out of serpent form and she starts like doing a dab sliding and then you pop back in.
Yeah, and it makes like tires screechy as your sneakers scrape across the ground.
Yes.
And you're doing that dab stopping motion. It's like, this is pretty good. What was the first demon power?
The grappling hook, which feels like not utilized in a way that's fun at all.
Okay, so here's my thing with it. It's that classic problem of this game doesn't have an aiming reticle.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always target the thing in the center.
No.
So when you need to use it for platforming and combat, and there will be a lot of things in front of you that are grapple hookable, you can end up grapple hooking the wrong thing. And that can get old really fast.
Yeah.
I didn't hate that nearly as much as I disliked the bird, but I do agree that it should feel better.
Yeah, it should feel better and it should integrate better because you can only do it after a regular jump. If you double jump, no grapple hook.
And if you long jump.
If you long jump, yeah. It's just like,
if you spin.
These weird stipulations around every power is like, just unhinge it. I don't care if it breaks your level design. You clearly want it to be broken. You made it for speedrunners.
I mean, yeah, they apparently were talking about like, here's some cool tech in our game for speedrunning. Like, and the game is really neat. One of the things I like about the game on a mechanics level is you can long jump in midair, basically. And while I never would have thought, I wish they made a 3D platformer where I could long jump in midair, they made it and I went, oh, that's really great. I think that may be one of their best ideas. Because the way it works is you have a spin button. And while there's a combat use, and I guess we can get into that in a second, if you spin in midair, it'll make you hover. And then if you jump out of that, it works like a long jump. Or you can do a double jump and then spin and then just slowly fall. So depending on whether you need more distance or more height or something else, more controllability in your platforming, you can do any of this. And I think that part is really neat. I think that core is really good.
Yeah, I think that there's some solid 3D platforming in here. Like that, it feels better than most 3D platformers I played in general.
Yes, I would say it is definitely on the higher end of game feel for a 3D platformer, which is bizarre because your character's 2D.
Yes, right. It's also, I always felt myself wishing I could ledge grab. It feels so Mario inspired that not having that just makes me feel like, oh my god, I'm dying here.
Also, the thing is they designed a ton of ledges that are just barely too high.
Yeah, they did.
So not having ledge grab means you're going, okay, that's completely impossible despite looking very much in my domain.
And other times it was like, well, I did the hover and I almost landed. Almost. But no, she's just barely under the threshold, so she can't get it.
For me, I feel like the first two turfs are my favorite. Like those two, I really like the aesthetic. When you do the first turf, it's very, very linear, right?
Yeah.
And the weird thing is once you get to the second turf, which is the tropical one, it opens up completely on what was the first level, where it's just like, you're on an island. There's water around you. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm used to standing on a hallway, basically.
Right.
Like that entire first turf is that. And at first I was like, this seems kind of rough. I'm not sure this game's great for this. But eventually I really got into it. And I was like, yeah, I like the second turf as well. Then I hit the Japan turf.
Uh-huh.
I really didn't like the Japan turf. It has my least favorite level, which is just a city.
Yeah, that level's a little weird, but I actually liked most of the rest of the Japan turf. Like, I feel 2 and 3 were the strong ones, whereas 1, I was like, oh no, is this game like really bad?
Really?
Yeah.
What did you dislike about the first one?
Something about the first one just being everything's hyper linear. And again, this is before I even got the mods to make the character feel decent to control at all. Like there's this thing that lets you hover with the spin and the walking faster. But yeah, everything just felt so linear in a way that wasn't interesting. Was everything just slightly out of reach that I didn't like it. And then the boss fights are terrible.
Let me go into the first level real quick before we get into combat, because we haven't even touched on how the combat works, and that's a really fascinating thing that you could never assume.
Yeah. I don't know why it was done like this, but yeah, it's there.
It's unique. The first world I took as like, this game is going to be extra much like that Mario 64 ROM hack situation. It's gonna be performance driven. You know, you have trophy times on every level where it's just like beat it under this amount of time to get a trophy. And while it was also teaching mechanics, I felt like that first turf is really about like, you know, can you get up to speed in order to do that? And I did both runs on every level for the first 2 entire turfs.
Oh, okay.
The third one is where I broke, where I was just like, there was a level here that was just a city and did not flow like a level in a video game. You just plopped me in the middle of this district you made and went, there's the level. That level took me over 20 minutes to beat, I think.
Yeah, welcome to my Star Wars mod.
I know, right?
For Battlefield.
That's fucking how it felt.
Yeah.
It genuinely felt like that. I'm like, why is this level? Why are you like this? But there are like 2 or 3 levels. Like I believe is the tower one and the racing one, where you're doing all these racing tracks in the Japan theme levels that I did enjoy.
Yeah, I think what really killed me in the first set of levels was also that tower level, which is like, man, this is just frustrating.
I'm trying to remember
there's just a giant castle you're invading, and you have to climb up the side of the tower. And I just kept falling down there in ways I didn't feel were good.
Okay. I'm
One really cool thing about this game is let you set checkpoints anywhere.
Yeah. I was going to say one completely novel system in it that I love is the checkpointing system. They don't have checkpoints in any levels. Just like Jack 2. But you have, when you go into a level, 3 checkpoint flags you can stick down at any point in time. Once you throw them down by holding the triangle button on flat ground outside of a combat zone or a maze zone where you have to find keys, you just plant the flag and you can teleport between any of the flags anytime you want. And if you're anywhere in the level, you can press and hold up to teleport back to a flag. So this allows for many great opportunities of you're about to die, and you just hold the button. You go, I didn't die, I teleported. You didn't own me. So then you get to beat the level, and it's like you die 0 times, and I'm like, I'm so good.
I realized you didn't count those deaths. That's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. So that's really good because, you know, as we were saying, kind of like Mario 64, they'll hide collectibles in the level. Mm-hmm. And you have a button at all times to point an arrow in the direction of the collectible. So if you disperse your checkpoint flags across the whole level, you can easily retread the level in order to get the things you passed up. And on the first playthrough, that's cakes, which you can use for cosmetics in town. And on the second playthrough, they have, instead of having 3 cakes, they have 50 sweets, which are just like lollipops floating around the level. And when you get 75 of those, you can pay a guy to steal a battery so you don't have to beat every level but 6 twice. I just bribed my way through the end of that game. I'm like, I don't need this, man.
Yeah, you can also use those on cosmetics too, which before I realized what you used to pay him, I was like, yeah, I'll buy some of these cosmetics. And I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have bought any of these.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah, it's pretty cool that you can buy cosmetic stuff. I got a little gecko that rides on my head the whole game.
Yeah, that's great.
It's fantastic. Yep. I also changed my hair color and costume. It was pretty cool. There's a lot of neat things in the game. I think it's that, like, almost sadistic collectathon nature that drained the fun out for me. Where I just I started engaging with this not fun feeling flying mechanic, and we still haven't talked about combat. And by the end of it, I'm like, I have to beat every level in the game twice, except for 6 of them, or I can just bribe this guy. And if I ever go into that level and get that battery, I can get that money back, right? That currency, the sweets. Maybe I'll do that someday. I don't know.
Yeah, I might still get some sick urge to platinum this.
I actually, because I was playing it, the weird way they listed it, I couldn't check my trophies, and I still couldn't when I last checked because it was just like an hour before it went live for everyone. So I had no idea how far I am. Maybe I should just never look because then I might want to platinum it. So there's this collectathon nature to the game that's a little vicious, and then you hit the last area, and it's like, here's this special door. Don't you wish you could go in the special door? Get everything in the game.
What?
And I'm like,
that involves doing the mini games, which are terrible.
okay. Which mini games did you wait? Fuck this. We're not talking about the mini games. We're talking about combat.
Okay.
Then we'll talk about the mini games. So the combat in this game is a little nutty. It's mad quirky.
Yeah.
Ooh.
L2 makes you spin, like I was talking about before, and R2 makes you shoot a giant hand. And the larger you charge it, the bigger the hand is. Most of the game's combat is, let me rephrase this, all of the game's combat, outside of boss fights especially, is shove enemy into spike, shove enemy off ledge. If you spin into them, it will stun them it'll stun them so you can keep shooting small hands into them and easily push them off of stuff. The combat never feels like it evolves in any meaningful way. The only addition it gets is the hook shot, which you get at the end of the first demon turf, which allows you to pull enemies towards you. And it almost felt like a throw gongs at hat moment.
Hey, you can also pull off armor.
That's true. It does add the layer of pulling off a shield. So,
or a spiky shield and killing yourself with it.
Yeah, that is a thing, and that was pretty funny the first time I did that. I was like, oh. But then it was really, really, really not funny the several times I tried to pick up something else and he picked up an enemy spiky shield.
Yeah.
I wish the targeting felt better on that.
Yeah, just shooting the hand feels kind of bad.
Yeah, it does.
If I am not opposed to the style of combat at all. I think them going for an interesting, unique thing is cool. But it doesn't feel good though.
Right.
And that's the problem. Where it feels like this, it just shouldn't be in the game. One of the few levels I just quit and will never go back to. It is a level where it's like, okay, you got halfway through this alternate play. This is an island that's filled with random dudes with guns.
They're gonna shoot you.
They're gonna shoot
death
you,
lasers,
and they're nowhere near spikes. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that ever. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Bob. The optimal play. I assume this is in like the tropical world.
Yeah, I believe this was the tropical world.
Okay, I have done both visits on all of them. Yeah, as I said, I did both visits on everything for the first 2 worlds. Then I did that city, and you know what was messed up? I did the second visit on that city in the Japan theme level. It was a much better designed level the second time.
I'm sure. Some of the redesigns are good.
I was like, why did the first time happen? The second time has any flow to it because it's, hey, there are 8 keys throughout the city. We aren't throwing up shitty walls. We aren't throwing up shitty roadblocks. Just go, get to places, get the keys. And I'm like, wow, that's how a level like this should be designed. Because when everything looks alike, when I do a thing, I complete a requirement, and you drop a wall, and it's like, oh yeah, that wall on that street that looks like every other street in the city.
Yeah, somehow I was able to actually know where they were opening, but I was like, man, that is vague enough where if I wasn't paying super close attention, I would not find it.
Okay, so 2 times I thought I knew where it was and I didn't.
Okay.
1 time I accidentally X'd through the screen and I was like, I'm doomed. I'm fucking doomed. Because yeah, in that level, it's like walk into this doorway that's on this random street, and then there will be a hell portal on the ground, and you'll go through that, and then you'll be on the ceiling, and that means you can just barely jump to here.
This is a little bit off topic.
Sure.
You know how sometimes they put cake in chests, and you have to do something to open the chest? The first chest I got to, I just did the L2, the spin, right next to the chest, and she picked up the cake, and I was like, that seems wrong. So then I just carried on with the level and didn't do any of the requirements for it.
Oh.
It never worked again. But
Okay, I was curious about that.
That'd be great if it did.
yeah, it would.
Yeah, there was. You remember that racing level I was talking about that has mazes in between?
Yes.
I was trying to break that level because some of these levels you can do some delicate platforming to just skip a segment.
Yeah, I do like that they set them up like that. Like, it seems very intentional to just be like, yeah, no, you skip past all of that, which I did several times throughout.
It's really funny because when you look at the trophy times, you can really figure out whether or not there's one of those.
Even
like,
now.
Like, oh, this is 8 minutes long. This is a huge level, and there's no way to make it shorter. But yeah, as for the combat, it really is just not fun. I wish her primary attack was something a bit more readable that happened with a reasonable amount of buildup, right? Because you charge the hand for a really long time to get it remotely large.
Yeah, and you don't even have like a mod to fix that. It just takes a long time.
And your movement speed lowers because you're now hovering when you do this, which means you have slippery physics too. Yeah, it doesn't feel great. I kind of wish she just had a swipe attack that hit directly in front of her with not an insane buildup. Because at the end of the day, I can deal with that better than I can. Okay, I did this thing and I set this up and this enemy's stunned. Now I need to charge up and it takes so long that the enemy's conscious again and shot me with the laser.
Yeah, and a lot of them have one-hit kills. It's really annoying.
Oh yeah, that's something we didn't talk about at all. There's no health bar in this game.
Yeah, so sometimes you'll get an enemy that's nice and just stuns you or knocks you back. And then the danger is they're going to knock you into spikes. Like, you can knock them into spikes.
Yeah, or off of a platform, and below the platform, it's instant death, like in Japan all the time.
Yeah, this game is obsessed with having, like,
Instant death pits?
Yeah, instant death pits. Like, Mario typically doesn't do it. Like, there's very few parts of Mario 64 and stuff where it's like, oh, you're just dead.
Yeah, like a Bowser World or a Big Little.
Yeah, but basically
Little Big
every level is a Bowser World.
Yeah, that entire first turf is a Bowser World, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that's why it turned me off.
I dislike the first Demon Turf boss's design a lot, so that was a part of why I was like, I'm not sure about this game.
Oh yeah, the first boss is worse than the rest. It's kind of crazy, except maybe the fourth boss.
Okay.
Because yeah, the first boss is just terrible.
I like the idea of the fourth boss.
Yes.
I don't want to go into specifics because obviously that's really late in the game.
Yeah.
Because they make the fourth boss into one grand level in a sense, and I think that's a really neat idea. I hate the level that they made though.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I'm not going to explain a whole lot, but I will say a rhythmically occurring giant death laser is a part of it.
Uh-huh. I also, after the first derf, they start introducing more mechanics to the stages. Like, you'll start seeing sticky walls and other things. And that kind of activated my brain more.
Yes, those were great. Because they have multiple material types. You know, they have the ice gel, they have the gel that deteriorates, and the sticky gel that they stick on walls and floors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's really cool. There's many cool things in this game. I don't want it to come off as this game's absolutely miserable and no one should play it, but the one word I would use to describe this game is disappointing.
Right. Like, it's constantly wavering between a 7 and 8 for me, where it feels like this should have been a 9 or 10. It really does. Like, there's enough workings here to be like, oh man, this is amazing. But then it's always dragged down.
Yeah, I feel like if it was a leaner experience, and the bird mechanic didn't suck, because it does suck. It sucks. I wish it didn't suck. I love flight mechanics in almost every video game. like Wing Cap feels great. Super Mario Land's flying feels really neat. There are so many games with great flying mechanics.
Yeah.
You know, I think about like even Pilot Wings on the SNES. It feels better to fly in on the hang glider.
Superman 64 is cool. You go through rings, it goes.
Yeah, Bob, did you notice the long jump makes the Superman 64 sound?
Oh, does it?
And then
it's the exact same.
Yeah, KZ
noise.
pointed it out, and I'm like, okay, good. It's not just my disease-addled brain that noticed this. Then they added ring races.
And then I'm like,
2 hours
they did
later.
it on purpose.
I'm like, 2 hours later, I start hitting my first run through this ring. Now the other rings appear. Hurry up, Superman. And I'm like, whoa.
Lex is about to win.
The weirdest part, they never do that while flying.
Yeah, they don't.
I think there might be one in the whole game.
I bet some of the revisits on the fourth stage.
Maybe. Probably. You know, did you see what they
come solve my maze?
I actually enjoyed some of the ring puzzles though. Like they were actually kind of fun to go through. Like that was in stage 2 when I started being like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that part of stage 2. The second turf, rather.
Yes.
So stage 16. Because there are 14 levels.
I could never make myself like sit down and do the revisit right then. I tried the very first time and I did one of them. I was like, this isn't different enough. I'm going to continue and hope.
Oh, I got everything in every level in the first turf, left, and then went, oh, I can upgrade my character. It's a good thing I didn't keep doing this. Speaking of which mods did you buy?
I got walk faster. The spinny move moves you up. Like it lifts.
Yeah.
That's great.
That seems really helpful.
And then more control for the wheel.
Cool.
All of those seem ideal and probably should just be in the game by default. Like, that's just how they should feel.
Yeah.
That's where most of the mods felt, though. Like, oh, a triple jump. Yeah, give me that.
So the weird thing, I used the triple jump at first. But then when I realized you can't get extra height from it, you can only get extra distance, I'm like, I already have that. That's a long jump.
Yeah, I also tried the triple jump for a while. I was like, this isn't as good as having a higher lift.
Yeah. The ones I ended up playing with is move faster on the ground, which is weird because the moment you jump, you lose that momentum. It's very Jack Core in that sense. The second one I got, though, is one that's like, I'll let you put down 4 checkpoints. And I'm like, 1 more checkpoint? Oh, my God. So that really helps with revisiting to find everything. And also makes the game easier in general because you can put down more checkpoints more liberally. This only shot me. I only shot myself in the face with this twice in the whole game, and they were right at the end, basically, like the last level in the game and the last world.
Yeah, I just got to the point where I was like, I can't take that one. I'd have to give up one of these other mods. I can't do that. Though it was tempting.
Well, luckily I could fit both fast moving and that.
Right.
I actually didn't notice the one where it's like, if you spin, you lift up slightly.
Yeah, that one is so helpful. Like, it's hard to imagine going back to not having it.
Okay, let's talk about the mini games. They have an unbelievable trove of things to do in town.
Yeah, they do.
They have, hey, I'm a photography buff. Go take photos of everything everywhere. There are like 50 of these challenges.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, what?
I don't even remember what he gives you. Is it sweets?
It's sweets or cakes. I think it's cakes. Some of it's cakes. You know what? Some of it is cakes. Most of it is sweets.
Okay.
Cakes can be sweet.
I saw
Cakes are sweet, but sweets aren't cakes.
I saw that.
Whoa.
There were a potential 118 cakes, and I was like, how? I got like every single one of those. And I was nowhere near. That's how, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just barely shy of having all of them. I just have to go to different areas because I've done them all in the main town, taking pictures.
Oh yeah.
There's 4 per turf.
Yeah.
So I got to go to the other turfs and take pictures and stuff. Let's talk about the other mini games, though. There is Demon Turf Golf.
This is so bad.
Oh, no!
See, he says that. I actually did all of them right off the bat because I enjoyed this thing that fits about as well as doing combat in this game fits.
Yeah, because it heavily involves using the physics that are used for the combat and was like, this is awful. I got through 1 and it was like, I'm never playing this again.
Okay, I'm starting to turn to Bob's side. I need to see it in motion, though.
I did all 10, so... You have these balls. They're per course. They're different sizes, and thus different momentum mechanics and stuff. You could use the grapple hook to pull it towards you. You can do a charge shot to shove it out. You can stop it with your body to keep it rolling off a ledge. So just imagine a goofy golf course. Maybe it has holes. Maybe it's on water. Yeah, that's that. I didn't do any of the rest, Bob. I stepped into the Coliseum to take a photo. And then just left.
I did 1 Coliseum fight and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I was like, combat? That's great. Bye.
Yeah, most of those hit on the same level for me of like, no, never, not even once. There's also the arcade.
Okay, so I'm going to say the most fucked up thing about this game.
Yeah.
And this isn't the most fucked up thing I could say about this game. It's not me being mean. It's just true. You will not believe me, but I cannot stress. Bob?
Yeah?
That first arcade game is just the first pumpless Mario Sunshine minigame. where
Oh,
you enter
God.
the platforming segment without flood.
It is.
It's literally, they have the same
Oh.
color star platform spinning. They have the same rectangular cubes that slowly rotate with the pegs on them. They use the same color choices for all the stuff too.
My God,
I'm
I
like,
didn't
why
think
is-
about it.
Why is this literally that?
Because there was something later in the forest turf where you go in this ice maze, which is a solid block of ice that you walk into, and it has a literal maze structure inside. You can't see well because it's made of ice,
Yeah.
just like in 64.
Yeah, just like in Mario 64 or my Little Big Planet 2 level.
Yes.
I actually really like that level, the specific one that had that ice castle, like that ice building.
Yes.
There are neat ideas in this game, and I enjoy it. But I was, as time went on, more increasingly disappointed I was than overjoyed. I would say for the last 2 turfs, I maybe enjoyed half the levels.
Yeah, I can see that. Like that last turf really did suck a lot of joy to me. There was just a few bright moments like that.
Yeah, like they do some really cool. Here's a big world, and there are all these segments, and you're just gonna flow organically from one to the other and unlock ways to go higher up this thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And then I would hit other levels. And then when you find out we added fog is a huge part of the aesthetic of the second visit, I'm like, no, I'm not playing any of these.
That's awful.
Is there anything else you want to? Oh wait, we didn't talk about the music.
Oh, God.
The music is Splatoon mixed with Bad Romance because the leitmotif for this game is them going ro-ma-ma-ma, just like Bad Romance
I get knocked down.
in every level. Every turf makes that song on the hub,
Yeah,
which means the number one thing you're listening to throughout the whole game as you run to the different levels in the hub is that.
yeah, it put me to sleep, kind of. Like, it was like slow versions of Splatoon songs, with almost nothing happening. So it just feels like really sleepy in a way.
I see where you're coming from, absolutely. I think the game has like, I don't know, less than 5 really good songs.
I think that the Forest Turf
Yeah.
has a better song because it has lyrics, and that helps it a lot.
Yeah, they have a couple songs in the game that have lyrics. That's one of them. It gave me some real Pumpkin Hill vibes.
Yeah, they're not.
I was like, oh yeah, I love just somebody rapping as I make my way through a fucking environment. It's a chill rap.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That's great.
I wish the other ones had that energy.
Me too.
I also felt like it really needed more voice clips because she uses the same voice clip every time you respawn. So
It's really good because what is the exact phrase? She says, "Let's move on."
moving on.
Oh yeah. So if you die, she'll say it grumpily, but if you warp back to the checkpoint, she'll say it happily.
Yeah.
She'll be like, "Moving on," versus "moving on." And it's like,
She also does it when she beats a level too. It's like, God,
yeah.
record more. You have an entirely voiced plot, which is really thin and bad. But
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much I wanted to get into that, but one of the larger disappointments in this game is how the plot doesn't really go anywhere.
yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting much, but I was expecting to like get some sense for these characters
Yeah.
instead of what it is, which
Yeah.
we don't have to talk about.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil the plot, but yeah. Yeah, so you can see between the music, the plot, the last turf, and other things. Yeah, I was really disappointed by this game. It's very unfortunate. What's up?
One more thing about the voice acting.
Yeah.
Every Disgaea protagonist pulls out this character effortlessly. They make it so natural and great.
Uh-huh.
She couldn't do it. Beebs just doesn't hit.
You-
It's so sad.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think that she's spunky enough.
Possibly the most harsh criticism we've had of this game so far.
Bob?
Yeah.
I believe you 100% because if you have that vibe, it has to be right.
Yeah, it's so like
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that hard. I figured it wasn't these people were great at their jobs, but this was just, they could just do this on a whim. No. All of Disgaea voice actors, thank you.
Oh my God.
You nail
That's
exactly
what I
what
was-
they want so well. She can't. It's really upsetting.
Harsh.
I bought this. I didn't get a code like Dan and Bob.
I'm sure you're gonna play all of it.
And I was gonna before this segment of the podcast.
You should just play it to the natural point of not wanting to anymore and come back next week and give us your feedback, because that's what I'm interested.
That is probably what I will do.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and
I only
bore
played
through this.
I only played through most of the first area, but I found myself thinking repeatedly, like, this would be a lot more of a slam dunk if it was like more Disgaea-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And like its tone, like it feels like you're going for that and not reaching it, and when you don't reach it, you like faceplant.
Yeah,
another game that has like this exact same tone is called Hell Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that.
Yeah, it's a Sega game. What the fuck is the full? Hell Yeah, Wrath of the Dead Rabbit.
Okay, I thought it was that.
I think the only thing you can get it on anymore, unless you want to go back to the 360 or the PS3, is Steam, because it never got ported forward. And it has that very same like, hell yeah, I'm a quirky, like this is hell and has demons and goofy meta jokes and stuff. And I played it and I was like, it didn't work. You didn't land it, and landing is like it's horseshoes and hand grenades with this kind of shit.
So quick,
close, it doesn't get you credit.
Couple questions, Bob. You haven't beaten the game?
Not yet.
And you were already disappointed by the plot?
Yes.
Okay. That's important for me to know.
I got 41 batteries, and it was 5 a.m. I was like, I have to stop.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't be like, Dan, I have to try and sleep.
I had to go play the other game a little bit and then sleep.
Yeah,
it was clear that I wasn't going to be able to do another 9 batteries. That just wasn't going to happen.
So did you bribe at all?
I've been saving it up to bribe now. I have like 250 sweets left because I went on a buying splurge to get a lot of different colors and stuff. Because I was like, oh, I like these. And I want to be able to mix and match on the fly.
Yeah.
I was an idiot.
I wasted like 180 sweets doing that. And then I realized, I'm going to use this to save my ass at the end of this game when it becomes miserable because they want me to do every level twice.
I might go do the photography stuff because that's fine. I'm fine with going to take pictures and getting some sweets.
That's neat. What I was going to say about the plot stuff, though.
Okay.
Since you were saying they don't really nail the Disgaea vibe, I feel like the characters in the lore, like the universe they set up, could be really cool and developed, but it never is.
No.
Every character falls short. No, I wouldn't say anyone has an arc. No one. That's how it feels. And so that's another layer of me being disappointed.
Yeah.
I was actually really excited for this game.
Me too. I was super hyped for this. This was like my game of show, basically, during the 2019 dire straits.
I think it was 2020.
Yeah, it showed
it was
up.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, it was the 2020 summer of gaming. I think it showed up at like an IGN thing where like, oh man, an oasis.
Yeah, no, that really was thank God, games like this. This is cool. I'm glad they made this. But at $25, I really can't recommend anyone pick it up. Maybe wait till it's a little cheaper, because there's a really good chance that I feel like as an absolute 3D platformer junkie, there's a really good chance most people will not stick out the whole game. If I'm sitting here and I'm like, because most of the time I don't have a problem with that. But when it is, we have 4 themes for levels. Eat all these eggs.
Put them in the fucking hole.
I honestly see them patching it to have a lower battery requirement for the final level.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. Because part of me was like, in the past, Bob and we've gotten codes for games early that were indie games where some stuff towards the end was really insane. And we were like, yeah, this is completely unhinged. I'm not sure what they were thinking. And 2 days a week, maybe 2 weeks after launch, they just patch it. They're just like, we removed this boss being insane.
Yeah.
They no longer fly across the screen and do half your health bar damage with no tell. Can you guess the game?
Freedom Planet?
Yes, it is. Of course it is. I knew it was about that. I'm like, what indie game would they? Oh, whatever.
But yeah, I think that one small patch to change the battery requirement would make this game just better in every way. Like, it could go up a whole point.
Yeah, I agree. This game would be more recommendable if it didn't tell you to eat all these goddamn eggs.
Yeah, just shave off like what, 10?
10 would help.
Yeah.
10 would help.
I would shave off 15.
I would agree that that's the desirable amount because I did a junky level of grinding the first 2 worlds entirely. And so, I had all of those. And when I hit the end, when I got to the point where they're like, you need to get everything, I was at 35. So I feel like if I put in that effort that early to get absolutely everything, then 35 would work. But the thing is, they have the system where he can steal a battery for you for money. So I think they think that's okay.
Yeah, they do, which isn't all right.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
I look at a 3D.
And they're speedrunners and need to learn that they're wrong.
God, speedrunning this game, like the whole game.
Oh,
That's going to be, that's a lot, man.
yeah, it is.
Because once again, it took me 13 hours.
Right?
I didn't leave it on the pause screen except for a couple times. Most of the time, I exited out to the PlayStation menu, so it frees the timer. So that way I could have an accurate number to tell you here and now.
Yeah, when I think of 3D platformers that are like, you need this main collectible to get to the end, I feel like you should the ceiling should be like 75%. Like, you got 75% of these. And then a lot of them are like, get 90%, get 90, maybe 95%. And I'm like, no, maybe not that. Most of them I can understand.
Yeah, I feel like you can do 80, maybe 85. This is 89.2, so it's almost 90.
Yeah,
Yeah,
75% I think is a sweet spot of, okay, you definitely want me to hit up every level probably.
It's
But-
weird because it has the extra layer of these aren't new levels. These
Right.
are old levels you're going back to.
That's
That's why it's like they should basically be optional.
yeah, that's the part that feels really bad. Like when Super Mario 64 has 120 stars, but each area has really different stars to get. And then you move on. And since the aesthetics are so similar across an entire Demoturf, it doesn't really feel like you move on, especially when you do the second playthrough.
Yeah, which usually they alter the aesthetic a bit and make it worse. Like the whole first area, everything is now dark red and hard to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next area is covered in lava and dark and hard to see.
I remember one level, I believe they turned it into piss. Like everything was now yellow. And I was like,
I'm not looking forward to that.
I can't remember where that was, but yeah. And that's the thing. Like here's what this game desperately needs, okay? It needs to lower the requirement on batteries. And it needs a 5th turf before you hit that gate, right?
Yeah. I kept expecting some other turf to unlock. Just like, oh, here's our 5th turf where you have to use all the powers. Because you get a different power in each turf leading up to this, but you can clearly see there are only 4 turf powers.
Yeah, the collectibles pretty clearly outline the scope of the game. Yeah. So I'm done talking about it. If I were to shoot from the hip and give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably, like, I really enjoyed it, but it's somewhere between a 6 and a 7 for me. Like, I really enjoyed parts of it, but then I was just so staggeringly disappointed as I continued.
Yeah.
This really is just it's really fun to engage with during these levels. And during these levels, it's not great. And overall, you hit that paywall at the end or whatever, and you just go, oh, I need all these eggs.
Yeah, I have to get all those eggs still. I'm not looking forward to doing that, but I'll do that over the next week.
But yeah, I'm hovering on it. I'm closer to 7 than 6, though. So I'm just going to say, like, I'd give it a 7. It doesn't feel good enough to get an 8, but I would say on the PS5, at least it performs well. On the Switch, based on all the reviews I'm seeing, it doesn't. It's capped at 30. It drops frames sporadically, and certain boss segments, which we didn't even talk about a single boss and how that mechanically works, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
It just shits frames.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it
Those
runs
things
at
are
like 20.
super, like, obviously way more demanding than anything else in the game.
Right, because you're traveling at super high speeds as they throw things at you and all sorts of stuff for some of them.
Right, and they're usually like a very large monster that moves.
Yes.
There's nothing else like that.
Yeah, they're all kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm done talking about it. Did you have anything else to say, or can we?
No, we can move on.
Okay, cool. What else? Did you play anything else?
I did.
Okay.
I was like, well, I finally got this in the mail. My copy of
No!
Neptunia Senran Kagura Ninja Wars.
Wow, Feels Games showed up.
Yeah! I could not handle it. You're like, I think they finally delivered my game while I was here, and I'm like, what game did you get? And then you said that, I'm like, shut the fuck up, Bob.
It actually didn't even get delivered on Halloween like they said it would. It got delivered the next day. FedEx is the worst shipping company ever.
They absolutely are. Anytime I get tracking from FedEx, I'm like, they're gonna lose it.
I don't know. Every time they do a new generation of consoles, it's like, hey guys, DHL workers are stealing consoles. And I'm like, yeah, they've been doing that since the 360.
Yeah, they have.
That's why I'm like, I'm not ready to sign up for FedEx is the worst, but yeah,
Whatever,
sure, they suck, whatever.
I only use DHL when I'm getting my anime figures.
Yeah,
they don't want those.
Yeah, that's what happens with me, where I'm just like, oh, I ordered that like Figma. It has arrived. And by it has arrived, I mean it went from Georgia to Montana for some reason.
It's so sad that Steve Jobs has died of Figma.
Who's Steve Jobs?
So Bob.
This game's weird.
Okay.
I haven't played a Neptunia game since I rented the first one and played it for like an hour.
Don't worry, they haven't changed at all.
Okay. They definitely changed in my eyes because I didn't know every one of them transformed.
Oh.
Yeah, all the Neptunia girls have like two versions.
Yeah,
So there's
that's a thing.
the regular version that's like got a lot of character to them, and they're constantly making fourth wall breaking jokes, and just they're VTubers. If anyone's unfamiliar with Neptunia, it's just apparently what VTubers came from. That's what it feels like, at least.
It really is. Like, it even looks similar.
Yeah, no.
Like,
when all of them
aesthetically.
stand there in a pose at me while their mouths flap, I'm like,
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
but then they transform and lose half of their character and also look worse. like
Yeah.
Neptunia goes from being really goofy to being like super stoic, and then goofiness comes out once in a while. It's really bizarre.
Yeah. Well, you see, Dan, they're the goddesses of game industry,
Yes.
which is the world. So they turn into, like, I think it's called GPU form, which is like their divine form. And like I feel like one of like the Neptunia ones are Neptunes are usually like, because she turns into Purple Heart, and
Yeah.
it's usually like, okay, she has like Genesis consoles as shoulder pads, or like this other in the later games, like they have the Dreamcast swirl all over them.
Yeah.
Shit like that. They turn into like super mech form, power. They're the Centurions.
Yes.
Remember the Centurions?
Power Extreme.
Yeah, that show about dads.
Man and machine. Power Extreme.
I showed Bob this fucking show. I grew up with it, so
I have
I'm on
no
the
idea
same
what's
fucking.
going on.
I'm on the same fucking page as Phil. I showed Bob this show 3 years ago, and he's like, "The show's just about dads that are action figures."
Yeah, it's really weird.
it
I
rules.
did this entirely.
I'm like, that one
growing up.
literally looks like my dad, so I can't argue with this. It's just an 80s
and then
dad
other
who's
than the-
also a plane.
Yeah, and then they have like the side members who don't show up as much, like, and one's like the space guy instead of the Air Force guy. It's really raw. But yeah, it's like that, but with consoles.
Just to be clear, Casey, Centurions is older than anyone in this fucking podcast.
Yes.
It is a really, I'm just going to post a picture and you will get how old it is based on this fucking image.
Sure. Let me pile in here now.
So yeah, it's a group of elite 80s dads.
God, I forgot how extremely dad-core they
Oh
were.
my god, it is Dadcore.
Yeah, it's really great.
This looks like something that would appear in a bit for an Adult Swim show.
Yes, because it would absolutely be parodying this. Are you ready to see them in their battle suits?
Yeah, these are their basic battle suits, KZ. They have more advanced ones, like when shit really goes off, like send me the super shit, and they basically are like riding like the shit from RoboCop that ventilates that guy.
Yes. Centurions is the funniest shit in the world. How fucking gaudy. What were we talking? Oh, he compared Neptunia to the shit.
Yeah.
Also, this game is really weird. It's set in a universe where the Neptunia and the Center and Kagura girls just already know each other. It's not like a weird crossover. It's just, yeah, this is how it's always been. It's like, yeah, we rule this kingdom that's obviously their company, and then there's the the Marvelous Kingdom that they're from, and they're like rival ninja gangs.
That's pretty
Okay.
funny, actually.
Yeah, it works. I was like, I expected some sort of crossover writing here, but you did not do any, and I respect that. Except for having Neptunia be like, well, you might recognize some of these names from other things, but don't worry about it. I was happy that Go the Crow from Shinobi-Do is a main character who gets introduced really early in the story.
That's crazy.
She has amnesia because it's a gender bent version of her.
Yes, that's true. Because the original Go was male, right?
Yes.
Yes. But they're like, no. This is a sausage-free zone.
Yeah. I think every single male character from Senran and Kagura has been deleted. It has the worst math flaps ever. I've never seen math flap this bad.
Good.
Like they motion tween the upper and lower lips, and it just looks horrible.
Yeah, that...
The main villain is called Yo Gamer, YOH. Last name Gamer.
Last name Gamer. That's ridiculous.
And she goes around in a giant spaceship saying that she is a ninja, all capitalized. That's her title, and she only recruits ninjas.
Oh,
And
okay.
she uses the headshot style, and she is a gamer.
okay.
It's all very intense and told you cutscenes that are way too long.
Gamer derogatory.
Basically.
Yeah, the primary audience for this series, as far as I know, has changed from like Mopigs to office ladies. That's what like people I know who are like cued in to that culture is like. Yeah, the primary audience of Neptunia now is like 30-year-old women.
Yeah, it's also weird. It's like you're playing a Senran Kagura game, but they've taken out most of the perviness. Like they don't have clothes exploding at all.
Huh.
They don't have transformations that are like cinematic and showing like nudity or anything like that. It's like it's very cleaned.
That's not the same franchise then.
Not really. Like there's still panty shots, and that's about it.
Okay.
Senran Kagura is another one where the audience started skewing towards like 30-year-old women again. As I found out when I found out, we have like a 45% male-female split, which is 3 times as much as Overwatch.
See, that's
I'm
really
like, wow.
That's really bizarre because every person I've heard complain about Sony censorship ruining that franchise is definitely male.
But yeah, it's cool to
that censorship that was mostly made up.
Yep.
And not a thing.
yeah.
This game has a glitch on PS5 because they want to kill this franchise. Totally.
Yes,
I'm not just deranged.
Yeah, sure.
Sony in the grassy knoll rewriting APIs. Let's see how your shaders compile now. That evil mock Sony, he's trying to censor the vagina bones.
Not again.
Damn, get him, Centurions.
My psionic warriors. Seal them within the earth.
It also adds some interesting gameplay mechanics, like you can now do back attacks, and it actually does more damage if you hit the enemies in the back. It doesn't have like special animation. This isn't Dark Souls. You're not doing like a backstab.
Could you fucking imagine?
They
It's
use
the
the same
exact animation.
That would be
same
really
sound
funny.
package too.
Yeah, it's just the giant like door shutting that is hit
Yeah,
stabbing
the
a dude.
door shut, gunshot.
And they have a stamina bar, but the stamina bar is used for like dodging hardly affects it. It's mainly used for doing your super moves, which are now like you hold L1 and then every button on the face pad or on the face buttons will be a different special move, and you can lock more as you go. Which were previously in Senran Kagura games. Some of those were your secret arts. You'd have to like charge up a big meter and do a big finishing attack to do. But now you just have access to them at any time. It's like, okay, this is kind of a neat way to take it. So yeah, that's encouraging. I didn't get to play that much. I want to say I played like 30 minutes, but there were 2 hours plus of cutscenes. There's so much dialogue. And some of it's pretty decent. Like I like a lot of the self-referential stuff, but it's it really outweighs it in a way that is not necessary. Like, I hope that it cuts back a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it. This is neat. This might be one of the better Center and Conquer games in general.
Maybe we should stream it.
Maybe.
Before Vox beats us to it after hearing on this episode that they cut that shit out a little bit.
Yeah, there are also no petite characters on the Center and Conquer side, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at their bios, figure out if this game is streamable.
Oh man, you look 5. I'm 22.
I'm a 23,000-year-old vampire.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I'm a functioning member of society. Anyways, Bob, is there anything else you wanted to say before we move on?
No.
Okay. This is the part in the podcast where I was going to buy all of Centurions on DVD as a joke, but it's $52.
Oh.
And there's way too much of it. It's like 20 hours.
Hey, do you think Centurions can beat Sliders?
No. Sliders will make you laugh multiple times an episode at how stupid it is. Centurions, you're just waiting until they transform.
But Centurions has a guy named John Thunder, who I think might be Native American.
Oh, I actually forgot that part. I just remembered the names were insanely stupid in that show.
It's not quite as good as Yo Gamer, but still.
I remember because he doesn't get a bodysuit.
Oh, really?
John Thunder does not get a bodysuit. He just has like the pegboards just as armor.
Huh. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm like, I remember a fourth guy. Oh yeah, yeah. Look at that dude. Holy shit.
What?
Yeah, that sure is the fourth fucking dude. All right.
That's the fifth guy. The fourth guy is Rex Charger.
Their names are so great. Fucking 80s cartoons, man.
They are.
Man, I respect the headband,
the commitment.
Yeah, it's like not many people can pull that off. It's him and that dude from Zeta Gundam, Paprimus.
No, not him. Not the writer of Mother M.
Ed Boon loved this character so much he based all of
Nightwolf.
What is the horrible character? Nightwolf. I was like, Thunderbird?
No, Thunder is from Killer
really
Instinct.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did research for Thunder. Ed Boon doesn't know what research for this would be.
That's okay. Here's how Mortal Kombat works. So they watched Big Trouble in Little China. Then they made a game.
And we're done.
We're going to throw it over to KZ now. KZ, what you been playing?
First up, I played a bunch of Mario Party Superstars as that released right after we recorded the last podcast.
That's true.
Was really excited for this one because for years I was like, hey, they should put online in one of these games. And then they announced Super Mario Party, and then they said at E3, it will be online. And for 3 hours, that was really exciting. And then they said, for the minigames. And people went, why would I ever want to do that? And then they retrofitted it onto that game. Like years later, we're like, maybe the next one will have it. And it did. And I'm happy to report that it is basically perfect unless you try to play with two people on the same system. Then it is not perfect and will explode.
Yep.
That happened live on stream of us going, well, I just got a new set of people I haven't played with before, so it might be them. It was going through a are you wired type of situation. Everyone got wired. It still was a problem. And I went, Dan, I'm going to need you to leave this thing with me, and we're going to find out right now. Connect with everyone. Runs at 60 FPS, no problem. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Dan, you have to buy the game. This is the dumbest it's ever been. They're like, we can't get two people doing inputs. That's too much.
Yeah, no, that's too much.
But since the normal online works, I'm like, okay, then that's fine. My hope was that I'd be able to play the game online with friends, even some that are on Wi-Fi without there being major issues. And yeah, it's been pretty fine. We've had maybe 2 disconnects across 8 or 9 games, and getting back in is really effortless, where it becomes this thing of, oh, they see my friend game, they know that they were playing in it, so would you like to reconnect to that? And then they wait until the mini game of that turns over. And then the game goes, we're putting them back in. And then it instantly pops them in. The game saves every turn. And you can have up to 10 slots of ongoing games with people. So it becomes this thing of, oh, I couldn't finish. This one person had to leave. We can actually leave it. And we have plenty of like saved slots for it. But that was my main concern, was like, is the online in this going to be like decent? And it's one of Nintendo's better online games in general, which is really funny because this came out at the same time as their N64 nightmare that uses really bad delay to where it's impossible to play it at all.
Ah, yes, the Nintendo Switch Online.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this version was great. There's a little bit of input lag, but aside from that, it was perfectly playable. The game itself is actually really solid. It could be a little bit better in the fact that they could have done better by just not using Mario Party 1 boards at all. The one of the reps they picked, Peach's Birthday Cake, isn't very interesting as a board type because it's basically 2 circles and the star doesn't move. So there's very little in terms of things you can do to interact with on the map. Like there's some spaces that you can set up like a plant that if you put enough coins in it, if anyone lands on that space again, it'll just, a plant will eat a star and then just give it to you. But aside from that and like one side area you can go to, there's not much going on there. But the second Mario Party 1 map's all right. And then the stuff from 2 and 3 is good. So overall, I was really, really happy with boards that feel like designed, like interesting, where there's actual choices that you can make on it. You're not in a car. And there's not like a bunch of features like you hire extra characters to throw dice that Super Mario Party had. And the dice amount goes past 6. And a bunch of other funny random items that they have in here, like some broken stuff, like a star card, where if you're holding this when you go to a star, you can just get 2 instead of 1, or other weird broken shit. But yeah, we've been having a really good time with that. I'm glad the online works. Finally, a good Mario Party again. I hope they support this with some form of content. Data mine suggests that there were 10 board files. So it'd be nice if they did some DLC of some sort for this, because that would
more Mario Party 2 boards.
Yeah, basically just add more Mario Party 2 or 3 boards, honestly, and that would be a big win, because the 2 they picked are some of the best ones. But I would love the pirate board that has a drawbridge with a bunch of event spaces. When you land on any of them, a cannon shoots you with a cannonball and knocks you to start. Or the Western board where you can hold a hootenanny for 10 coins and it moves every single person to that spot. And you can get hit by a train. Also, the minigames are really, really good because they didn't limit themselves to Mario Party 1 through 3 on that. They went up to 10 in terms of just pulling different minigames that are not gimmick related and use the controller.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's like, here's this one for Mario Party 8. And why did it get in? It was a sober one. That's why. It
was a sober one, or it was the sober one?
I'm not as experienced in 8, so I can't say for sure. For 10, it was funny seeing the little Wii U icon because they put the system and the game it represents in the minigame menu there.
And if you stand too close to it, you can never leave.
Yes, you have to be very careful. I also like some of the stuff. I think it was in Super Mario Party where you can practice the minigame on the screen, like before you start. Because in the old ones, it was press R to initiate practice mode, then you hit start, then you're in a mock game. I like here that you can just, the game's immediately playing out on a screen where you're learning the controls. It streamlines things quite a bit. But yeah, I love Mario Party, and seeing an actual good one crop up has been really, really refreshing. And the fact that the online works as well as it does, I'm like, that's kind of a miracle. I've been waiting for there to be a bad aspect of this game since announcement. So it was good that I didn't really end up finding much at all. Let's see. I finished Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, since we got 5 coming out. Like, reviews came out today as we're recording this. Yeah, this was still really good. I'm interested in how 5's going to approach this, because they space out 4 Apocalypses, like areas, levels, and bosses, to where they keep scaling up to the point where the final boss's level is just 100. So you'll end up getting close to capping in that game by the very end, and it still like stays challenging. I'm wondering how close 5 will hit to that. But they've also like changed some stuff in 5 from what I heard, like how buffs aren't permanent; they're like 3 turns and other stuff. But this is really good. This is like the peak of the combat of this series so far. It's really fun to just go through that again, experience the soundtrack that's also really good. I don't have too much to say about it. Just it felt good to get refreshed on it before 5 comes out. Get into that specific mood, and then get into that nightmare final dungeon where I just showed the map to Dan, and he went, "Why? Why did they do that? Do you think that 5 will do that?" And I'm like, I'm not sure. It'd be really funny if they did, though.
I'm like, this kind of reminds me of some of the maps I saw for Final Fantasy II's final dungeons.
Here, I was worried that it was just straight up a map my brother would have made Tenchu 2.
Oh,
It's just a spiral inward with traps.
Oh yeah, this one it's an alternate universe thing where you're running through and there's a bunch of doors that teleport you to other chunks, and you keep doing that until you reach the end, and then it's like, okay, that was brain 1, now for brain 2 of 4. And it just keeps going like that. And I was like, all right, guys, what point do you think I started looking at directions? If you thought it was when we suddenly started making progress every 2 minutes, you were correct. Because I'm like, I'm not doing this thing legitimately again. I can't. People are just going to see me walking aimlessly, hoping that this is, in fact, the door or cube I'm supposed to float into. Still a lot better than some of their older games where they're just like, this place is just going to have a hole. You'll know when you're falling through it. Now go back up and avoid that hole to walk into another hole.
Yeah, that's sure how first-person dungeon crawlers be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, had a good time with that. And yesterday, I finished up Guardians of the Galaxy. And I came out of that a lot more positive than I was expecting to. Before I said it was like, maybe like a tier below Spider-Man in general, the PS4 version in terms of like quality. And it kind of shot up to be around similar in a lot of ways. And in some ways, I feel like this game does some things a bit better. Like there's some parts of it that I enjoy a bit more. The combat I thought was all right in my first couple of hours, but it only kept getting better. There's this idea where you don't control any of the other Guardians in this game. You instead play as Star-Lord, and they definitely really designed it around him just being the leader, given the sheer amount of moves that you can have them do during fights at a given time. Because as you get kitted out more, you have these setups where it's like, all right, this one's going to do this move that ups the stagger bar on them. Here's a move that pulls everyone toward like one direction and one big clump. And you get to this point where battles continue to like feel really fresh when you're like layering in all these moves incredibly quickly. Because it's not like, say, FF7 Remake's tactical mode where it slows down time as much. I feel like you're getting through it much faster. So you're divvying out these moves incredibly quickly. And then Star-Lord gets a bunch of extra moves as he goes on. Last week, the only thing I had was his guns had a freeze mod on them to freeze enemies, and then you can walk up to them and he does like a funny drop kick that shatters them into pieces. But then I picked up the lightning gun that has like a chain lightning effect on everything. There's this fiery one that's like a plasma shot that does a large amount of damage, but is a big charge shot you wait for that does like a dot, so it does damage over time. And then the funniest one that I'm glad they put in this game, which is an air gun that just pulls enemies from halfway across the map right in front of you, which is really good for anyone trying to like snipe you in this game. It felt really good to just pull them in so I could quickly do like a super of some sort. I was stunned at the amount of levels this game has, where it doesn't feel like it runs out of ast necessarily. There was one moment where we ended up on the same planet we were at the beginning of the game. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the moment that they're going to put a little bit of filler in the game.
Get 50 sweets. Do it again.
They're like, here's the level that they showed at E3 again. We're going here again. And then 20 seconds in, they went, all right, surprise, this is some set piece that is 3 minutes long, and this isn't actually a real level. It's actually some cool thing. And I'm like, oh, they really didn't really need to reuse anything. And if we ever go back to an old level, it's used in a completely different context, and also it's probably exploding or looking incredibly fucked up. So there's a completely different vibe to it. The writing is like really stellar in this. The overall plot that they decide to go with really leads to a lot of good emotional writing and some really good character moments and conversations throughout, that I feel like every single one of these characters like grows throughout the game, that I really appreciate it, because of course it's trying to be funny, but it has a lot of moments where they're taking things seriously and it feels earned, and I really admired that. And its use of licensed music is some of it is used so well toward the end of the game, where I'm like, you just elevated this last moment like 5 points. You guys are so smart. I can't imagine the people that played this using streamer mode like lost out on so much appeal here. It's like playing Death Stranding and you never hear low roar. Where I'm like, you lost like a chunk of what makes this like really good. Where sometimes I'm in a really tough fight against snowy Wendigos, and I used my super, so Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go's playing, and then one of my party members goes like, kill them all, Peter, which has a new context when I hear that all the time during Jack Month.
I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 2. It's going to happen.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That would be so good.
This photo mode feels like it's almost basically the same as the one in the Spider-Man Insomniac ones. It just doesn't have all those insane like Game Boy filters and stuff, but it has those. We recreated album covers and comic books that you can try and fit your photo mode frame into.
Oh, that's neat.
And then they gave you a ton of poses for the characters. That it's like, select the character. Now what pose are they going to do within that area? What type of face are they going to make? A lot of that's really nice. Only knowing the Guardians through those Avengers movies made me go, they keep naming characters. I don't know who the hell any of these people are.
So wait, you haven't even seen the Guardian movies?
I have not. I've only seen them through the through the 2 Avengers movies that they were in.
Oh, wow.
So I only had a base reference for it, but I could already tell that they were trying to stray away from the movies entirely, when very, very early in the game, they pretty much go, yeah, Thanos has been dead for a while. Like he's not even in this. He's not doing anything in here, because it's supposed to take place after.
They were scared of his Sigma grind set.
Yeah, they're like, it's been like 12 years since the war with the Chitauri like alien people. So things have moved on past that, and then they just keep referencing other weird characters or people I've never heard of. That I meet a character for one cutscene called Ruby Thursday and start losing my mind at them being named after a restaurant.
No, the bad knockoff of a restaurant.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Ruby Thursdays is when your mom's like, we don't have to go to Ruby Tuesdays for pasta. I can make pasta.
No, we have that at home.
A restaurant that's named after a Rolling Stones song.
Yes, I know. I don't think KZ did, but I know. I just much prefer the idea of they were really eating at Ruby Tuesdays a lot, and the Marvel writers went, what if?
Yes.
I wonder if she predates Ruby Tuesday, the restaurant, because I think she's from the 70s.
Yeah, I would imagine, because Marvel has a long history, and I do not think that restaurant does.
And then early on, Drax keeps talking about how he wants to fight a Fin Fang Foom, and I'm like, you just made something up. What the fuck?
Oh hell yeah, Fin Fang Foom fucking kicks ass.
Yeah, he's like definitely does. But I even looked that up. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, this thing was made in 1961. And I was like, oh,
yeah, it's a big weird looking dragon with a really stupid face.
Yeah, they do some stuff with that that's the coolest shit, and so many other like extra characters, and they reference the main like Nova superheroes. Like, we don't know where he is at all. Like, it'd be cool if he could show up, but we have no idea. Then there's one scene that I think is really funny where they're like, here are all these portals that they could be like different realities or different universes, and they use that to have like sounds come out of them as they're traveling to the next location. And they're like, This is the one where Captain America will say something about the Avengers, and they're like, "Oh, it's those guys. They're really not advanced. We really don't need their help at all." Or Spider-Man.
Here, I thought there was going to be like, I walked by the portal and talks about Thor 2.
That would be great. They're like, one of them's like Avengers Assemble. One of them is them talking about Peter Parker, and fucking Star-Lord's like, are they talking about me? Because I'm also named Peter. And then another one, they just do a bunch of different referential ones here. But overall, yeah, I think this game's been fantastic. Definitely going to hit my Game of the Year list. It feels good that Square was able to get one good Marvel game out of their contract, and this one was like great. And I spent most of the time just going, if Avengers just shot for a single player game, they would have had like 2 high 8, like low 9 style games. It's definitely like a real shame.
Yeah, Avengers really shouldn't be what it was. I don't know why they made it that. I would have been really excited about that game if it was more the structure of what we're talking about with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like, the game just looks so gorgeous. And then I turned on the 4K quality mode with you in the room and did air dashes, and it looked real bad.
Yeah, for some reason, there's no motion blur.
Yes.
Like none.
Oh.
So even though it's supposed to be 30, it looks chunky.
It's like there's a really good animation here, and then I was like, hold on, let me turn on that mode that cuts the frame rate in half but puts it in 4K.
And I'm like, yep, this is why I'll never ever fucking do that.
Yeah. Now I know, and now I know how terrible it is. But yeah, really, really big fan of what they did there, and the fact that it's just like, man, you put a lot of money in this game. Just the amount of really good looking areas that seemingly just never runs out. Also, I got 50 out of 58 trophies in one playthrough, so I guess I should just go back and plat it because this game has New Game Plus.
Cool.
Yeah, it feels good whenever that happens, and it's like, oh, okay, I could probably get through this again pretty quickly.
Just covering our ass. Did you get a code for this game?
Yes, as mentioned in the
prior one.
Yeah, in the previous episode, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I had to just be sure.
No, don't worry. I make sure to cross my T's, dot my I's, bacon, egg, my cheese,
sausage, my McGriddle,
sausage, my McGriddle, and put a tomato in it for Dan.
Yay!
Yeah, all right. That's all I managed to sneak out this week.
Okay. Hey, Phil, what you been playing?
Well, I got through all of Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, including the patch quest, since the last time we recorded.
Oh, good job.
Now, a lot of people said, yeah, Heavensward is great. Stormblood isn't as good, but don't worry, the one after that, Shadowbringers, is top, is the peak. Boy, they were right about boy were they right about by Stormblood not being that great. It has really good parts. It has parts I like a lot. I didn't think it would have the 3 worst characters in the Final Fantasy franchise all congregated in this one expansion pack.
Oh no, that's like the last part of fucking Far Cry 6 for me. And
all 3, and like most of these characters have like very similar problems. And I said on Twitter, like, man, this one part of the expansion is really, really great. And everybody's like, yeah, the person who wrote that part wrote the next 2 expansions. I'm like, oh, good. Yeah. Thank God.
That was it's so funny that happened where they're like, this one's great. She's going to write literally everything now.
So you have your party in Final Fantasy XIV. They're called the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. And one of them is this girl named Ida. And she's like, okay, I punch things and I'm real happy-go-lucky. And I hang out with one of the royal smart people on the team. Because Final Fantasy XIV is weirdly similar to Star Trek. In the sense that, like, in the dynamic that the party has is, like, very TNG-esque. And a lot of, and, like, this literally happens. It's literally the Star Trek shit of, we need to solve technobabble problem. We'll use technobabble solution. And then they'll cut to one of the slightly dumber characters being like, it's literally like that Futurama gag. Just like putting air into a balloon. Where they, like, use an analogy that is really simplistic to explain what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's really charming. I like it. But anyway, at the start of this expansion, some shit happens, and that character Ida is like, I'm not actually Ida. Ida was my sister. My name is Lice. And she takes off a mask because she'd been wearing like a mask, and reveals her new character and gets a new design. And she immediately abdicates all personality.
It's really funny.
She becomes a plank of fucking wood. And not just that, her character for this whole expansion, because the expansion is about liberating these two countries from the Garlean Empire. So you go to a village. You're like, we want to recruit for the resistance. This dude with one arm and no other limbs is in like a wheelchair. This isn't literal. This is like metaphorical. This is an example of the sort of thing that happens. And it's like all our young people went off and got killed trying to fight the Empire. We don't care anymore. We're just gonna try to survive. And Lice gets really fucking indignant. It's like, I can't believe these people don't want to stand up for themselves. What's wrong with them? I can't fucking believe it. White woman, by the way. And that's her entire bit. That's her only bit for the whole fucking expansion. And somebody just drew a picture of like her before and after, and the before is like, yeah, I punch things, yeah, friends, and the second image is a piece of wood with her hair just saying freedom.
He's not kidding.
And that's what she is.
She is literally one of the most boring characters I've ever seen. It's really impressive.
Oh my god.
I cheered when I got to the stuff that's directly setting up for Shadowbringers. And your party members start to get like plot device head wounds acting up where they like get stunned and stumble around because something's happening. She's not affected. She's demoted. She's no longer on the team.
Yeah,
and I'm like, thank fucking God.
It's really
Thank
funny
fucking
to see them also be very aware of how boring the character is when they're like, okay, we'll slowly just massage you away.
Give you a new job. You're no longer part of the party. We don't have to think about you anymore.
You know, in a lot of ways, you've been promoted.
Yeah, they're like, you're in a higher place up in a political realm now, which means you don't have to be an adventurer who has to be on screen ever.
Yeah, thank God. Because she's like the focus character of most of the expansion, and she's so fucking awful.
Yeah, like seeing
she's
you just unleash on her every like hour on Twitter has been very vindicating, where I'm like, yeah, she's real bad.
The other two is her rival character.
Oh god.
Who is like her name is Fordola, and her whole thing is she's basically Suzaku in Code Geass, where she joined. She's a citizen of a country that got conquered who joined the Empire, like to try and like make better for herself. Except she's like not redeemable at all. She like spends the whole expansion running like the secret police and killing people. and whatever. She sucks. That's fine. The what shoots her down to the bottom is when you get her backstory. I called her and one other character who I'm about to go into, like they have shitty webcomic backstories. Her backstory is her parents were collaborators with the Empire. So you get this flashback because that's one of the powers the protagonist has. He has this thing called the Echo, or your protagonist. That doesn't have to be a guy. It's your created character. That basically lets them. It makes you a new type basically. But one of the things that your new type powers include is being able to like see people's past, see their memories when it's plot convenient. So you see her past, and it's literally she's walking down the street holding the hands of her two Nazi collaborator parents. The peasants decide to stone her, and her dad hugs her and gets stoned to death. So now she hates everybody in her own country and wants to kill them. That is her backstory.
Wow.
I'm glad there's some layers.
And that is still not as bad as the backstory for the tertiary antagonist of this expansion.
What?
Because the main villain, Xenos, is great. He's fucking hysterical. You just put Kinpachi into this story, and when you meet him at the end, he just gives a Metal Gear speech.
Yes.
Like it's Metal Gear-esque to down to where he's in love with the protagonist. But this bitch named Yatsuyu is the Empire head in one of the countries you go to. She's the most boring villain I've ever seen, because you figure her out from moment one. Because literally her first appearance is, this guy was trying to escape the country. He's from your village. You random villager, shoot him. And he does. He shoots him because he's scared. And at this point, the character can go in two directions. They can either leave and maybe there's some mystery to them, and maybe like you don't know 100% what they're going to do in every conceivable situation. Or they can do what this does, where for absolutely no reason, this character goes, okay, now shoot your parents. And he doesn't, and he gets killed. And it's like, okay, I now know you're going to do the most cartoonishly evil thing in every conceivable situation, to the point where you're just boring, because you will never do anything unpredictable. And then we find out her backstory, which is her family was mean to her. So all three of them at the absolute fucking bottom. There was plenty of good stuff, like the dungeon where you get to do rules of nature and block a giant sword.
Yes.
There was some clever stuff, like a boss you don't have to fight. Everybody just has to dodge all the shit on the ground that they throw out, which is nice. There was a really fun area where you learn a lot about these different cultures and help them with their Fortnite battle, and meet the funniest character maybe in this entire game. Solely because his whole thing is that he's like a stoic warrior guy, but immediately starts simping for any woman who enters his vision, and not like in an obvious way. He like starts stammering and talking in like tongues, which leads to one of your party members burning him so hard he almost dies. She basically looks him dead in the face and says, "I'm not interested in you, have a tiny dick," and he drops dead.
Yeah,
and everyone around him starts pointing at him and going, "Tiny dick, tiny dick."
When one of your main female party members since the very beginning just says, "Come back when you become a man," and she's blind.
Yeah, she's fucking blind.
I was like, holy shit. I think this is also the point after all of the really bad characters like leave.
Yes.
So it kind of just feels like you're fully detoxing.
Yes, because you have to deal with the fallout of all the horrible characters in the patch quests, and you deal with all the horrible characters, and then things get really, really good really fast.
Yes.
Including what might be the funniest cutscene of all time, where the 7-foot-tall emperor of the Garlean Empire shows up to negotiate with all the country leaders that you've met.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally just sits there and is a YouTube skeptic at them and owns everyone with facts and logic.
This isn't just, he's just exaggerating. It is almost the most literal shit ever.
He's literally like, you're criticizing us, but looking through the history of your country, you've committed 8 genocides. Isn't that a little bit hypocritical? And the person just shuts the fuck up. They're owned instantly.
And it's like, you're part of the evil empire. You look so evil, and you just busted out this sick burn like that.
Yeah, they come out on the losing end when at the end he just starts talking about the master race. It's like you lost to this guy in a battle of wits. Also, he looks like David Bowie, kinda.
Yeah,
which I think is neat.
Let
me see if
David Bowie always must be involved in Final Fantasy. It's important.
Look how fucking evil he looks.
Yeah, that dude's ridiculous.
Yeah, that dude has a YouTube channel.
They also bring back a character from earlier and gave him like the sickest redesign in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, you're such a fucking badass now. Also, it's like, man, you were this other, because all the voice actors changed from A Realm Reborn, because that's when Square Enix switched to like the different studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who can you get to like replace the guy that was voicing him?
Yeah.
Someone from Game of Thrones who plays a main character in Game of Thrones and has like a similarly booming voice.
Yeah, that's seemingly the only path when you replace Richard Epcar.
Yeah, it's like, damn, I didn't think you'd be able to replace Richard Epcar, but you sure got a good voice for him. I'm also at the point where they're starting to do more experimental things, like letting you play as other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like play as your party members for events, because normally you all.
There is that section like right toward the end of Stormblood patch where it's like, oh boy, this is Let's go some places.
But yeah, now I'm really excited because it's like they woke up
Yeah.
from like Stormblood being kind of middling in a lot of ways. It still has like fun areas and really good music and mechanics and stuff, but just those fucking characters just suck all the life out of it almost. They're so terrible. They're so bad. And then all of them either die or go away forever.
Yeah.
And then the story literally jumps 4 points.
Yeah. It's cool how they got that newer writer in that did the Dark Knight quest line, and then she went on to do some stuff in Stormblood, then Shadowbringers, and then when they did one of their fan festivals, one of the biggest applauses they got was when they just said her, and they're like, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's never leaving this game unless they give her something even bigger, because it's like you really stepped that game up like so many tiers.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to go into Shadowbringers. I have 2 weeks to get all through that, which I think should be pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think I'll have to kill myself.
Yeah. We can't all be like Sakaguchi, father of Final Fantasy, who has somehow done all of Final Fantasy XIV's main story content in like 3 weeks. That dude's insane.
I don't see how that's possible. That seems insane.
I know, it's crazy. He's doing side content now. He's also doing it with fucking Matsuno. they're just running group together because he keeps live tweeting it.
That's really funny. I've also started playing Pirate Warriors 4, the One Piece one, since I bought that going into the PS5. I decided to finally play it. It's really fun. All the characters have really goofy animations, and there's like 750 playable characters, or some astronomical number. I think character progression is a little bit too abstract for me in this one. Because like in Dynasty Warriors or even Hyrule Warriors, like upgrade your weapon, but you can't have that as like a thing in a One Piece game because everybody has goofy superpowers instead. So the upgrade system and the things you need to do it are all like totally abstract video game shit. Like collect coins with this character on it and then spend it on the upgrade map. And I'm like, I get that there's nothing else you could really do, but like it being contextualized even a little bit helps for me, especially since it's really granular in this one. But yeah, that's just my okay. I'm tired but I don't quite want to go to bed yet, so I'll just mash the square button for 40 minutes.
Always good.
And sometimes the triangle button.
Ooh, that's when you know things are really serious.
But that's all I've been playing.
Okay. Well, then I guess that means it's time to talk about the Podlords.
Oh, cool.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We have those, right?
Yeah, it's a Podlord.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the Podlord wheels yet again. Feels good.
Podlords such as Ely Broyles, Corey Brown, Live Action Mito Real, Red Blaze 27, Suzu Shiro, Emperor Zero, Laura,
What he sees.
Pathetic. Creepypasta. The Mighty Number 9 review Blu-ray is released, but you can only buy it with balls, one from the GigaBoots patchy slot.
Oh no!
That's a really good patchy slot design.
Pull the lever.
Rado. 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. Busey Party Superstars, now available for the Nintendo Switch.
You're a sissy bitch.
Only way to make those teeth scarier.
Wah. It's just really quiet. Wah.
Wah.
WTF Spider-Man. Joker and the Phantom Thieves will enter the metaverse and steal Mark Zuckerberg's distorted desires.
Why does he just want a bunch of insects?
I like that. My distorted desires for the Overmind, my psionic overlord from Mars.
When mankind tries to ratio you in the quote retweets, so you decide to make it illegal.
Oh yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Britain.
That's God doing a smirk.
DFW 3K, Muckbun, Shiny Mew, Kristen. What do you mean Jack Month is over? I wanted to doink Praxis.
Is that a little nose? Is that supposed to be like a nose or like a chin strap?
That's the
Goatee.
Yeah. How you know he's edgy.
I can't handle Tonberry with an angry emotion.
It's so good. It's perfect. Santi Kunai. Travis Touchdown versus new Raido Kuzunoha. Switch edition. Adam's got nothing for this week. Enjoy random image from my meme folder. The crab cycle.
There's only one step, and it is crab.
Kyle Bjork. Zilter. EA Shut the Fuck Up Challenge.
Oh, God.
Iron Aggro. Blig de Blue. Schlig des Blue.
I finally know how that's written out. It's crazy.
I'm out of decent Aquatine ideas, so Podlords are forbidden.
Thanks, Daxter.
Monster Hunter. Ryzen and Raiden. Kite Man. Hell yeah. Where'd all the other villains go?
The fuck is Kite Man?
I don't know. The Need of Dogs Everywhere.
I just need my keys.
Blizzard.
I'm the guy.
Dan, to not be sick, I prescribe some bed rest. Your bill is 10,000 treats. Payment due now.
Oh no!
Oh, God. Still better than the American healthcare system.
Yes.
Yep.
You see that shit where the lady got charged $700 for not being seen at the emergency room?
What?
Yeah.
God damn it.
America. Yoshi P may not wish ill upon WoW, but I do.
What does that say?
Tear that bitch apart.
Oh, okay.
It's from Kill Bill. What a good film. You have 1 month.
First one, at least.
Fuck.
No, we don't. We don't even have that long.
Yeah, it's already started.
It's
What are
already
you talking
started to
about?
fucking happen.
BN12. Padoru in your mom.
God.
No.
Told you we didn't have fucking 1 month.
Yeah, she's just like Mariah Carey. She's already on
Yeah.
side.
If I had money, maybe I'd get a Potteru cardboard cutout.
Jesus Christ.
Just stand it in the living room.
Indigo Sykes. France was a mistake. Evo Lucario. Clutchin's future-proof Podlord name slot. A raccoon that's so full from cigarettes. Yum.
Yeah.
My grandmother once said, even the devil's whispers can sometimes sound like an angel's voice. Lambu. Shinji16 celebrating his birthday by doing a charity stream on his Twitch. Saturday, November 20th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.
Thumbs up.
Chris Pratt has signed on to voice KZ Excellent in the upcoming Big Think Dimension movie.
Let's go.
Wahoo, bing, bing.
That's not the voice. You have to watch the movie to hear the voice.
Maria Kondadzovna Eve. And Virvarm. Thank you very much to our Podlords.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you, Podlords. And if you'd like to become a Podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits such as extended armchair dev pitches and gamer premonitions when we don't say all our material on those shows, a Patreon exclusive show once per month when you get to vote on what good or bad thing we watch and talk about, and early access to Chugging Bleach and Mondo Cool, our 2 anime review podcasts. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, you can always help us out by telling your friends. And if we're currently fighting towards a goal where we have to watch all of Reboot, even that live action thing that they made.
Yes. All of it. All of Reboot. The Reboot Rewatch Recast. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/gbpodcast.
We get a slow vertical shot of Chris Pratt as he goes, "Puh."
Yes.
Yo, we got news.
Oh,
No
boy.
way.
Yeah. They're doing things. Things are happening.
How could they do this to us?
I'm going to cover mine really fast because it's not deep. Intel released their 12,000 series CPUs. Intel's trying again. Thank Christ. Their solution to losing on performance and price for the last several years is juice the fuck out of the CPUs. So they added like 100 watts of power or some shit to peak workload. So these are the hottest CPUs I think that have shipped in a really, really long time. But here's the thing about them. The architecture is new and novel, and it actually reflects a lot of what's happening in the smartphone world, where you'll have small cores that deal with background tasks and big performance cores that deal with, running the games and et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of that and its efficiency and games actually booting and not shitting their pants and not working is dependent on like Windows 11 and thread scheduling and other things. I've seen some benchmarks for Windows 10 and it had good performance there. And I've also seen games just not work because their anti-cheat goes, this isn't a real CPU. What the fuck is this design? So, it's good that Intel's back. It's good that Windows 11 is solving a problem because I think this sort of design is the design going forward. That's what the MacBooks have. The MacBooks that are thrashing my PC and even these new Intel CPUs. But it's looking promising, and I'm really glad Intel's trying again because it's been forever since anyone gave a shit about Intel's new shit. Very excited for Ryzen to come out with a new generation and just be like, yeah, and then we kicked their teeth in because then we got DDR5. Because that's the thing. This actually has DDR5 support. So the new generation of RAM's coming in. And so we can't divest the performance gains from that versus the architecture because it's the only fucking CPU that supports DDR5. So looking forward to the first half of next year whenever AMD launches that shit and we get to find out how this is going to pan out long term. Intel may have just jumped them on the memory and been like, "See, we're competent," but we'll find out.
Never.
They would never. We'll find out next year. We're gonna go to Bob. Bob, you don't have much news. Go.
I do not. They said we're going to get Melty Blood DLC. I'm very happy.
Yup.
4 new characters coming.
That's a lot of cats.
Hopefully. The first 2 is going to be by the end of winter, then the second 2 will be in spring. Each one's going to come with a new stage and a new story mode thing, because each character has their own little super basic arcade story, and that's what's going to be here. So that's always cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
And also they said they're going to do free updates for training mode's going to get enhancements, stuff like that.
Yo,
yeah,
that's like Tekken.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. This is very good news. I was scared when we wouldn't get DLC.
Actually, wait a second. Tekken made you pay for the hitbox info.
It sure did.
They did, in fact.
Fuckers.
They're like frame data is a part of our season pass.
That's a premium.
I'm
You okay, Phil?
Yeah, Phil's been stunned.
I'm really glad that this is getting DLC because there's no reason for any company to do revisions anymore. Arcades don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist anymore. So you don't have to deal with that shit this is an arcade update, so we can't do it as DLC. You're just making DLC now. Consoles are the main market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the main market for 20 years, but we finally caught up to that, catching up to everybody else.
Yeah, everyone's on the same page
Reality.
now, I think.
Yeah, Fred woke up.
Yeah. The closest thing to a revision is there's a new boxed copy in stores that's more up to date.
Yeah.
But
that
you don't need to buy that.
Unless you're crazy. It's Capcom.
Or you didn't get in,
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Hey, Capcom hasn't done that this gen.
No, they
Not
didn't do that
gen,
this
'cause we're
time.
past
That was Street Fighter 4. They did that.
Because this gen,
Yeah, Street Fighter 4.
this gen, they had a dead fighting game with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And Street Fighter 5, the eternally undead fighting game.
Well,
Yes.
Well, when Street Fighter got announced that following Evo, they did a panel, and one of the first things they said is, "We're not doing that shit this time."
Mm-hmm.
This is a game we will gradually
everybody
update,
got
not
on their
fix any
ass.
core fundamentals of. And I'm like, good. Wait.
I mean, you could just change the core fundamentals. Dragon Ball Fighters did that a couple times.
They
How certain
Capcom couldn't
things work.
clearly.
they're like V Trigger 2.
And Dose.
What's the PS4 Pro? I don't know.
Real, I'm really excited to see what Street Fighter 6 is going to look like now that the curse bearer has left Capcom.
Maybe not ugly.
I was not ready to pit it all on him. Then he showed up at fucking the publisher of Melty and took credit for being there for like 6 months of it being worked on. I'm like, you are garbage.
When's he gonna quote tweet saying, "I'm really glad that I pushed for them to make DLC for Melty Blood"? And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking throw an apple at you.
The only other thing I got this week, Dawn of Monsters got announced. This is being made by 13 AM Games, who did Runbow. It's like their kaiju brawler. It's co-op. It looks like it's an arena-based fighter.
Yeah, that's what it looked like last time I saw it.
Yeah, you play as just different kaijus and they smash up a city while fighting. Could be cool. It's published by WayForward.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Way Forward, getting it done.
So yeah, hopefully that goes well.
CEO of Way Forward's like, I'm really glad I made this game.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was gonna say they showed some footage off of this 2020, like during the Summer of Games or whatever.
I thought that was a different one because everything I found was this being announced like 2 days ago.
Okay, so this is different from the one I'm looking at, or thinking of.
Oh, I just thought no one cared about the Summer of Gaming last year, so it doesn't count as a reveal.
Yeah, maybe the footage they're using here just makes it look different, but yeah, I have footage of the pre-alpha build.
Okay, I guess that they just okay.
Yeah, they showed that off then, but obviously it looked a lot rougher.
Right.
Yeah, this game looks real cool. It looks like it's trying to do that one what was it, World of Heroes, that SNK Neo Geo Toku kaiju fighting game. You could play as the giant, like
King of the Monsters?
King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
There we go. I couldn't remember the name of it. I owned it at one time on Super NES. I don't know what happened to that cartridge. But yeah, it looks like, they're doing that giant, like, fixed camera perspective, side profile, like, brawler thing.
Mm-hmm. So that could be good.
Yeah.
And it'll actually come out, unlike Colossal Kaiju Combat, which is never coming out and is dead.
Oh.
That was the Kickstarter one, right?
Yeah, that was the Kickstarter one.
That's rough.
Let's see, whose news do I want to deal with first? Dun, 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 dun. We're going to KZ. KZ, go.
All right, first up, they showed off 15 minutes of Elden Ring gameplay. I think they premiered it on a stream, then just put it up normally. They showed it, and I was like, holy shit, man, does this look sick as hell? They're doing really cool magic stuff. You can jump. You can do horse combat. There was a cool dragon. I'm glowing after this. This looks fucking crazy.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
The horse has a double jump. That's cool.
Yeah, it does.
But it feels as it's weird to see all this new stuff that looks crazy, and then you do the exact same animation from Demon Souls 1.
It's cozy.
That's like me playing Lost Judgment, and I'm like, that's 2014 animation.
Yeah. I just watched this whole thing man, if they do a Dragon's Dogma, that'll be absolutely amazing.
This looks really cool.
Yeah.
I like how much the entire thing just felt like magic is really amazing in this. Look at all this magic. Also, I appreciate the part during the boss fight where he goes, thunder, Thundercats, and his sword gets enormous as shit full of light. I was like, oh, this is cool as shit.
All of the open world vistas in this just look gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Just looking around and the way they show the map and how you get chunks of it. Now that we can actually see how that's rendered, I'm like, this looks like crack. It's like they've been working on this one for a while, and I'm so excited for this.
This won't run on PS4, Xbox One gen at all.
It was cool. It ran at 60 in the trailer. Who knows on what?
It'll run around 22 at 720p on PS4 and Xbox One.
They aren't real for me. I'm like, I just put it in my new machine. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're past that now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I only walk forward.
Yeah, I sit there and Demon Turf needs to load a level, and I'm like, loading a level. That's so last gen.
My next piece of news. they announced a stream that was called the Soul Cresta Hideki Kamiya's Very Sorry stream.
Yes.
The stream included him going, the game is delayed. It was going to come out at the start of next year, but now it's coming out a little later. They said at the start of the year they'd say when it comes out. I think calling it the Hideki Kamiya's Very Sorry stream is brilliant.
Yes.
Because, like, what could he be sorry about?
That guy's never sorry.
Right?
They should have announced this stream after they announced the price of that game.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's being delayed, so at least it'll come with everything, and they aren't going to charge separately for DLC for story. But who knows?
Anything's possible in the crazy world of we made a bad Dreamcast shmup knockoff.
No,
Yeah.
Schmuck is a good way of putting the entire thing.
A schmuck-a-muck.
Yeah.
You can't handle that schmovement. A lot of places noticed this where id Software put up job postings. They're hiring for a long-running action FPS. So people are going, oh, maybe their next project's like Quake or something. Because you finish that Doom Eternal DLC and you're like, yeah, they could probably not do anything with this for a while.
Yeah.
Also, given the fact they just put out an update that's like, yeah, Horde mode's out. New character in the multiplayer has gotten completely rebalanced, and we put up 2 like master levels. It's like, you don't really need to do another Doom.
Is there any evidence other than they don't need to do another Doom that they would do Quake instead?
Well, honestly, the DLC like closes out this story to where it's like,
Yeah. I hear you on that.
yeah. There's no real other proof for that. It just kind of reads like maybe they want to do something else because they've been trying to get a Doom out for, well before 2016 because of that bad Call of Duty Doom thing they were making. So I imagine maybe they wanted to do something else.
I thought there was something else in this job listing that made reference to sci-fi / medieval, or maybe even just magic in general. I thought there was something in the job listing.
Oh,
Do they own Hexen or
yeah, I was like, do they own Hexen?
There's no
They own Heretic, I think. They published it.
I mean, Heretic would be great because I think like Quake is
They
cool.
also published Hexen.
Okay. Quake is cool. It really is. But if you could try to really up the bar and be like, now we're going to make a really high-speed shooter that has magic and shit.
Right, like that'd be ideal.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I don't see how you make like Quake different from these new Doom games. Like they even put power-ups from them in the new Doom.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like
I agree with that.
And like the DLCs in some levels are just like you're going through the big dark citadel.
Yes.
It's like I don't see how it would be functionally different. So I would hope it's like Heretic or Hexen or something.
Yeah, I feel like it really would just be the story and the world that differentiates it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were hoping maybe they'll do a Quake so that people can stop thinking about the last Quake game that they put out was a hero shooter.
I think they're still trying to make that thing work, strangely enough.
Quake Champions.
Yeah, Quake Champions. It wasn't the worst. That's it.
All right, that's it. But yeah, I'm fine with whatever they do because it's going to be a really fast.
Could also
FPS.
be Wolfenstein. Could also be Wolfenstein because Machine Games ain't making that. They're making fucking Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
And that last thing that they made with the Wolfenstein IP on it did not do very well and did not review very well.
Well,
it would not surprise me if they're just like, okay, time for a reboot again. We reboot Wolfenstein every 7 years.
I'd really like them to not do that. I'd like them to do anything else.
Right. I was like, didn't Wolfenstein not fully end though? I thought even the last thing was leading up to a Wolfenstein 3.
Yeah, it seemed like it was leading into a sequel, but everyone was so not having it.
Yeah, and then that thing that Phil mentioned where it's like it's in the future and it's about their kids, and this writing is almost Borderlands level.
Yeah, New Blood.
Bad. And it has not New Blood.
Young Blood.
Young Blood.
Which
and
very
it's like
close to new.
This has levels for no reason. This has character levels for no reason, and enemy levels, and if you shoot an enemy that's too high level, you don't damage it. And it's like, why did you make 2 normal FPS games and then think this was a good spin-off idea?
Yeah, that was so strange. But yeah, it'll be a long, decent amount of time before we see anything come up from this. This next piece of news was delivered to me on stream, which was I'll read every bullet here. Sega and Microsoft are forging a strategic alliance to make next-gen games using Microsoft's cloud tech.
Oh, you're underselling it. The original PR announcement said Sega and Microsoft are forging a strategic alliance to use strategic technologies to make a strategic new generation game. And I'm like, what do you think that word means?
Strategy.
They specifically use the term agreed in principle, which means as of right now, they have no idea what this is and have agreed to nothing. It seems to revolve around Microsoft's Azure cloud stuff, since that's what the new PSO 2 is on, that new Genesis thing. Plus, that seems like a super game, which reminded me, oh shit, I'm KZ and I love super games.
This is definitely the signs of a Japanese corporation that doesn't feel like they're on the cutting edge anymore, teaming up with a Silicon Valley company to both just spout bullshit.
Yeah, it seems like nothing really, but hey, we're going to yell about it.
Yeah,
The term super game is really funny, but I feel like it's lost a lot of the appeal since a couple weeks ago when KZ explained what Microsoft thinks a quadruple A game is. So now I just decode that into this being the same thing. It's like, oh,
yeah,
they want to make something that costs me $70 and then is full of microtransactions.
What's funny is you can't even say it's what Microsoft thinks. It's like some developers there, so the higher ups at Microsoft might have a completely different definition that's crazy because nothing there is organized.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bet money. I'm gonna bet money that Microsoft's executives think the definition of a quadruple A game is something that sells even remotely close to a Sony exclusive.
Ooh,
tantalizing.
Yeah, people kept talking about this in my stream when the news broke, and I'm like, guys, that bottom line says Azure Cloud. Why do you still care?
I mean, here's the thing: the Azure Cloud shit's just servers.
Yeah,
like the whole like fucking Uncharted. uses Amazon Web Uncharted 3 uses Amazon Web Services to do matchmaking in servers.
Okay.
So there's nothing super amazing about using a cloud server for running an online game. That's really typical, actually.
Yeah, I hope Sonic uses this Microsoft technology.
I hope we get an online Sonic game. Saying Casey cursing us all.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I literally hit that lever going, burn it all down.
Kill them all.
More realistically, this thing is never going to really materialize because I
Right.
feel like these trend chasing products, especially now that development time on a game is so much longer than it was even a decade ago, that it's like, okay, we started this game because we want to chase Fortnite and Genshin Impact because those are like the two hugest things right now. 2 years have passed and now there's these 4 other things. Do we change? And then that happens like twice and the game gets canceled.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Also, one of these publishers has the worst track record for following through on a game they've greenlit ever.
Yes, maybe, possible, yes.
Yes.
This reminded me. I questioned on putting it in the news, but Podlord mentioned EA and chasing trends. They had like a shareholders thing, and one of them asked, "What about NFTs, blockchains?" And the CEO Andrew Wilson goes, "Well, it's still early on, but these do in fact look like the future of all video games."
NFTs, yes.
Yeah,
We
that
are,
makes
this
blockchain.
this gen, we are going to see one of Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard, and EA. One of these 3 publishers is going to go under this gen. And it's going to be from shit like this where they just pumped all their shit into some nightmare that is not just underperforms, but is nothing. It's like no
Dude,
normal human being even knows what this is.
Ubisoft.
Are they going to go under or are they going to get acquired?
Well, they'll get acquired. Like, I think the most likely thing is Ubisoft being like, yeah, we think you can. We're making play to earn NFT games, and then ZeniMax is just rubbing their hands together, going, "Ooh, we tried this before and it didn't work. We'll see again in a few years."
God, I look at all of those as like you wait. So not only are you investing in this new technologies as a scam, also you'll never be able to release on Steam.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing because Steam already has an anti-blockchain stance.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
it's
Epic
strange.
doesn't.
Getting back
that'll
to
get you the sales on Epic, right?
all of the sales on Epic. Good job.
Thank you, May. Thank you.
You got
Tim.
4s of digits.
Ooh.
What I was going to say about the Sega thing, you know what it reminded me of, Bob?
What's that?
Because once again, it sounded like a fusion of Silicon Valley talk and like Japanese corporation that feels like it's not quite on the edge anymore and needs to kick it up a notch. It reminded me of Bandai Namco teaming up with Sony to make the Cellius division.
That released 0 games.
What the fuck is that?
So the Cellius division was headed and founded by Ken Kutaragi in a cross-up for the Cell processor.
No!
They were going to make cutting-edge games for the PS3 that took advantage of the Cell processor. I'm going to look it up. I feel like Cellius, they shipped one thing.
Did they?
One. I don't even know if it came here. I don't think it did. Games. PS3. There we go. That should bring it up. Okay. Cellius. Oh, my God. Yeah, the Bandai Namco held 51% of the company. Sony held 49%. Oh, that's right. It's only Video Game Project, Bob. Are you ready?
Is Identity.
Ridge Racer for the Vita.
Ooh, that nightmare.
What the Cell?
Yeah,
What?
it took them that many years to make anything, and that's what they made.
That's so sad. Here's the worst version of the PSP game. It took us 18 years.
It runs at half the frame rate. It looks mildly better. It has terrible visual effects, and there's no content in it. Oops.
Oh,
Man.
thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, this is really like... It feels like a press release from 10 years ago.
It does.
It's so bizarre. Like, it does remind me of Xbox One launch times.
I mean, to be fair, they at least didn't say Microsoft is going to give you 4 times the power of your console to run this game we're totally making.
Yeah, they at least didn't do that.
They'll be the ultimate virtual water cooler.
Yes.
God. Speaking of super games, Amy Hennig's next big game with Skydance, the company she's with now. I forget if she like directly heads this up or not, but that's the one she's with. Is a Marvel game that they've been working on since 2019. Janina Gavankar, who's been heading up some characters in various games, like the story mode for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And Forspoken, she's like the Virgil boss that they showed in the recent trailer, is also involved in this. And
Oh, no. Do you mean like the actress?
yes.
The one who came on stage in E3 and said,
shit, that one.
Oh, no.
That also does a show for Giant Bomb now.
Jesus. Oh, really?
Yes, that was a thing in the past week.
I would like to see that show just to have a context for that person outside of, that's right, I'm a bad guy.
You see, I'm really bad because I saw her in casual stuff. Then I watched that and I'm like, what did they do to you? You've been thrown into a vat. Like any person who has to stand up and do like an EA or a Microsoft show.
Oh, that's tragic. If I had watched more True Blood with my ex-girlfriend, I might have seen her in that. True Blood being the Southern vampire werewolves shapeshifters series made by, what was it, HBO? I think that was HBO.
Yeah, probably.
Shit, 7 seasons. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's
So what would be the publisher on this? Do we know?
they did not list anything for that, so it's
Weird.
yeah, it's just
Did we have rumors that Hennig was working with Sony on a game? I can't remember. Everything got shuffled around by Stadia, EA, and a few other companies just going, we're not actually finishing anything.
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing I remember for Amy Hennig is the EA fucking her, and then her like not doing anything, and then her going, yeah, I wrote a chunk of Forspoken, and now I'm making this.
Cool.
Where it's like, yo, I'm making AAA story games again.
I'm doing it, and they're going to ship, god damn it.
That's cool. That's all my news.
I feel like 2 in a row is the limit, right? I feel like many people would have just left the industry.
Jade Raymond's still trying.
Right?
After
She ended up at Sony, though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
she did.
like her third try
What
at
was
actually
the-
putting something out.
Mm-hmm. What's up,
What
Fee?
was the last? I have no idea what Jade Raymond was ever involved with, other than the first Assassin's Creed. Is there something I'm
She was
missing?
at Stadia for a bit, right?
Yeah, she was involved in the Assassin's Creed stuff and then rode that out for a bit, then went to
She went somewhere and then to Stadia.
Yeah,
let me look this
I
up.
think it was like she tried to get something off the ground, it did not work. Went to Stadia.
Yeah, I think it was EA started a deal with her. It did not work. fully crashed, and then she went to Stadia. I'm pretty sure this is the order.
Yeah, it looks like she worked as an SVP group general manager in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay.
And then just
Yeah, it became this thing of like where even on podcasts I'd listen to going, why are people looking forward to her thing? She hasn't made anything big in years. Everything implodes. Can she even get a game out?
Yeah, so that's what happened. Okay, let me break it down. So 2017, she ships that Star Wars Battlefront 2 as the SVP Group General Manager. 2018, January, she becomes a member of the board of directors for the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. She leaves Motive in late 2018. In March of 2019, she announces that she joined Google as a vice president.
Yeah.
And then she confirmed she'll be heading Google's studios for Stadia Games and Entertainment.
Uh-huh.
And, she founded Haven Entertainment Studios this year and is
It was
working
like
with Sony on the
3
thing.
weeks after she left Google. It was like, it's here and Sony gave us money.
Yeah. Thank God. Jesus Christ. Fucking Stadia. Anyway, let's move to Feel. Feel. Say words.
Ooh.
Okay. Rage of the Dragons, the SNK fighter that's not Double Dragon but is totally Double Dragon, is coming to Switch and PS4.
That's great. That game is totally Double Dragon.
It's such a weird compilation. Doesn't this become Match Melee eventually?
Does it? I think it does, because one of them ended up in that.
Yeah, like some of the Raging Dragon characters end up in that game.
Yeah,
The main characters named Billy and Jimmy.
Yeah, they sure are. They sure are, and they have their girlfriend Mariah.
Good job, guys.
and this other guy, Abubo.
That's really good.
A booba.
But yeah, Bob, I think eventually they end up in Metro Melee, the most obscure fighting game possibly ever.
Yeah, I need to get a port of that. It's kind of amazing.
It is kind of amazing.
I don't even know what you're talking about. What
We
the
played
fuck
it
is
on
Metro
stream.
Melee?
We played it on the Mr. stream for a little bit.
I remember us playing that.
It was really quite something.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, no,
that's
that
the one
thing's
where
real
there's like a
great.
musical act happening in the background.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that shit was nuts.
Yeah, that thing's good. I think the PS2 is the only port of it. Yep.
Yep.
Womp womp.
Yeah, that was really good.
One day.
One day.
Fortnite adds El Chapulín Colorado, Mexican comedy superhero, inspiration for Bumblebee Man and South American legend. That his name means the Crimson Cricket.
Okay.
Awesome.
I have very limited experience with this character, but I do have some because I back before cable was something we had. We had like a antenna, and I got some of it on reruns, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty funny. Even though I can't understand it, it's all just I'm laughing at him getting hit or something.
There you go.
As you do.
That is the feel play.
Yeah, no,
But
that's
if
hilarious.
Fortnite's gonna have all these goofy crossovers, yeah, like hell yeah, go like just pull these famous cultural icons from places other than America.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get a toast sandwich or something.
You can pull Harry Potter and we can shoot him in the face and feel good about ourselves.
It would be funny if they were just like, we had a Doctor Who.
All of them.
That would. It's random when you pick that skin.
Oh, there are some people who would be furious.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, don't give me the woman.
Yeah, there are opinions on whose, but who cares?
Realistically, it would just be the fourth one.
Who
We all know it.
cares?
That was the joke.
This isn't really news, but I noted it because it's really funny. One of the Xbox Live Gold free games for November is that fucking horrible Rocket Knight Adventures thing they made in 7th Gen.
What?
Where it's
Yeah,
like,
when I saw
wow.
that, I was like, really? It
Wait,
even works?
They give away 360 games?
I guess.
Yes. Oh, the games for gold is like this weird like bargain bin garbage thing they put out. Where it's
Yeah, because they have Game Pass.
Uh-huh.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's real bad.
That game is terrible. It's like 30 frames per second and looks like ass.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Man, 7th Gen was not a good time to try to make a 3D version of a 2D platformer, you guys.
No.
There were so many where it's just like, look, they did the Mickey Mouse game. It looks ass. It looks like ass. It runs like ass. Oh. The devs on that were even begging Sega. They're like, please let it run at 60. And Sega's like, no, it needs to look good.
And I'm like, I played it on PC at 60, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's the real life hack for 7th Gen games.
It really is.
I watched Retro Island Gaming play Max Payne 3 at 60 on his PC, and I'm like, that's wrong. That game's supposed to look like shit and run at 24 frames a second.
Well, I mean, that's the only way you should ever have played it because they didn't make the controller work right for that game, so it just feels wrong.
I know. Someday we're gonna end
You
up
should
playing
play Max Payne on Game Boy Advance.
Microsoft CEO said we're going to do something with the metaverse. Metaverse is now in that zone where executives hear it and just hear the word money.
Yeah,
and don't know how it will lead to money or what it even really is.
God,
I was like, we got to go into money.
Yeah, this
money,
sucks.
money.
They advertised this to me on Twitter. Otherwise, I would not have watched this video. This guy comes off as psychotic.
Oh, cool! You should have posted that somewhere so we could watch it.
We're gonna watch it after this.
Oh,
yeah, they start showing off. Oh, yeah, you can actually now instead of meeting in a boardroom, you can meet in a digital version of the factory you will make, and it's like, wait, so you made a full 3D model of a factory that you're going to go to? And you get to be avatars, and then they become these horrible looking, like Geico commercial avatars.
And they're like, sorry, Rare, you're not making Everwild anymore. You're making avatars for the metaverse.
Yeah, it's this nightmare zone that's like, how did anyone approve this?
yeah, dot level, local, not local at all. It's the internet. Twitch retro streamer just got into VR in the last week, and then that happened. And they're just like, I regret everything. This is so gross. Get the fuck out. Why would anyone want to spend 2 hours in a headset for a business meeting?
Yeah. God, I can.
Yeah, why would you? I'm like, and it all has that angle of like, well, if you want a trendy shirt for your avatar, you need to buy a shirt NFT that costs as much as a real shirt. And I'm like, every single person involved with this should be.
Guys, I've decided the future of the GigaBoots podcast network. We are going to podcast in VR.
Yo,
we're gonna have to wear headsets for 5 hours straight once a week.
That's just big thing.
It's fine as long as we're all the Among Us.
Weird. We're the most powerful Twitch channel ever. We have 30,000 subscribers. All we have to do is just live in the box once a week.
Just imagining little Among Us with a jean jacket.
That'd be great.
Marvel's The Avengers, the video game, this live service is removing paid character boosts. I can't believe they had those. Fuck you. Your game costs money.
Yes.
You don't get to do that shit.
When this game was announced, they're like, we're not going to have anything like that, and almost basically named this type of thing. However, they put it on Game Pass, and then the same week they put on the boosters.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, people are getting it for free. Put the boosters in there. And then immediately removed them because they're like, uh-oh.
If I immediately mean like 2 months.
I feel like it was like a week.
I don't think it was only been a week. I feel like I remember when we covered this when it first happened, and that was not a week ago.
Okay. Well, they've removed them. Also, the Square CEO said, "Yeah, this game was a bad idea."
No, he said it in a weird way. It's like it was a bad idea for those guys to make it. It's like, yeah, not for anyone to make it. For that team, that's it. You got it.
Yeah, there were like I saw a lot of people saying it's like they don't think Crystal Dynamics is good, but it's like it's not good for that style of game where they're like, we got our linear people to try and make a games as a service, always online, forever game. So I'm like, yeah, it's definitely not what you would do. But I can't
great
see.
Decision.
I don't think any of your studios are suited to make a games as a service at all.
As it turns out, very few people are.
Yeah,
as it
basically
turns
no
out,
one.
as it turns out, Destiny, from the period of the Taken King until right before 2 launched, was the perfect team to make a live service game, and it nearly killed them.
Yes.
Like I feel like the live service thing has died in the sense of like you can't really say that's a genre. Like if a genre can't include the Avengers and Fortnite.
I mean, no, it's a tag. To clarify, because I looked it up, it looks like Game Pass added it last month at the very beginning. So it was exactly 1 month, basically, that they spent on Game Pass going, here's these microtransactions.
Also, didn't they make it harder to level up? So now they just don't have any way to level up quicker?
Earlier.
Yes, but they were very tricky about it, see? They always have a way of getting what they want. Yeah, they stuck that in... Like, they did that nerf, like, months ago.
Yeah, months ago, where they're like, people were too confused because they leveled up too fast. So we wanted to make it less complicated. So everyone got to make their post when the boosters came out saying, if you want the game to be complicated, give us money.
Yeah, their claim was, well, people are saying they have nothing to do in the game. That's because we tuned the experience gain wrong and they got the level cap too fast. So we're going to reduce it.
Man,
and you know what? They fell into the whole, a weird hole that Destiny 2 ran into, where like a month after launch, people realized that the game is actively lying to them about how much experience they're getting. Where it's like, I'm supposed to gain this amount. And they're like, no, you're not. So people weren't leveling as fast as they were supposed to, and then the game was just lying to them. People are like, what? Why? Why do you do this? Yeah, I don't think anyone over there should be doing live service stuff. I mean, they do MMOs just fine. Because even the Dragon Quest one's still running. They have 3 running and getting regularly updated. Just don't try to make any of these shit fucking things that you pay $60 for and then are a bomb.
I have to wonder how they're going to smoothly stop working on this and let them do anything else. Because they have to. Like, this is a nightmare and not making money.
I assume at the end of their current roadmap, they're just going to be like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to say, like, nowhere near the full team's working on this anymore.
Yeah, I was like, do they even make Spider-Man? Or are they just not even do that?
That's on the map. That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, that's on the map. That's happening this month. That's happening that's happening at the end of this month.
Okay. Well, hopefully.
They're like, we put it on Game Pass just in time for everyone to be upset.
It's like...
Yeah, we put it on Game Pass just in time for them to get on and be like, where the fuck's Spider-Man?
Yeah. And it's like they have to finish it or Sony will shoot them in the head.
Yes. You don't want to fuck with Herman Holst.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, what was the name of that first-person shooter movie? Danger something?
Oh.
Hardcore Henry?
Hardcore Henry?
Yeah, I feel like he could have played a bad guy in Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, I've seen Herman Holst. He looks scary.
Herman Holst has psychic powers. You don't even know he's secretly a Final Fantasy villain.
Yo! Is he going to be Stranger Paradise? God damn it!
I wish video games were that meta. I wish instead of Kojima putting in celebrities from Hollywood, he was putting in celebrities from video games.
Yeah, the closest thing we have is fighting the CEO of Square Enix.
Yes, I want more of that. I want Ken Levine to be an important character in someone's video game. Not the person, just the model. Right.
Yeah.
Completely fictional universe, but Ken Levine, Todd Howard, they're all there. Pitchford is some weird salesman. You know what? He's Patches.
Oh, God.
I mean, people have compared the guy who shows up at the start of Fallout 4 to Todd, and I can kind of see it.
Oh,
it's obviously not.
The vault guy.
Yeah, the salesman. He's obviously not scanned in, but I'm like, I kind of see it. I kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah, kind of like the Nathan Drake, Jason Rubin similarities in that first trailer, where you're just like, was this intentional?
We'll talk about the last big horrible thing last. I'll just skip around it till then.
Sure.
So Fight Night releases November 30th. Good. We finally have a fucking date for it.
For people who don't know, Fight Night with the K.
Yeah, I was about to say, is Fight Night back?
Fight Night. Yeah, Fight Night with a K, not the boxing franchise from EA that they haven't made in over a decade. Fuck you, EA. Make a fucking Fight Night.
We're instead talking about the boomer shooter medieval RPG that is a first-person boxer.
Yeah, this is really hype. I like that.
Yeah,
demo
is this a New Blood game?
I think it was Kickstarted.
surprisingly.
Okay. That
Yeah, it's
description just
Kickstarter.
made me assume.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, this thing's real cool.
They already got my money.
This is the one this is what I expected that weird noir fist fighting game to be like.
Oh.
And it was nothing like.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
disappointed where this is going to be just full on. Yeah, you're a dude who punches stuff and that's all you do.
I'm really excited for this game. We actually did a quick play of the beta 4 years ago. You
4 years?
You can see the tail end of GigaBoots really trying to make quick plays and the whole channel work. This video has 300 views. 331. But hey, the video is good enough where it's 4K. It's new enough where it's 4K 60 and actually good video. So maybe watch that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Marvel Midnight Sun has been delayed to the second half of 2022. It was supposed to be in the first half.
Yeah,
But,
like
we're not
spring.
gonna be done. We're not gonna be done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was a little surprised how quick that was supposed to come out.
Yeah. They showed a decent like chunk of gameplay in one of those overview videos, but I'm like, yeah, let it cook. I'm marginally interested in this, despite your Wolverine looking stupid.
in a move that's insane, Epic shelled out to Riot Games to get all their games on the Epic Game Store.
Why?
Yeah, and I think they put
League of Legends,
yeah.
Valorant, Runeterra. That there's one other I think, but it's like now those are on the Epic thing, and I'm like, why?
Here's the best part. If they're free games, you're just installing their launcher anyway. So you're just using Epic Game Launcher to get their launcher.
Right?
Yeah, it's confusing. They also put one of the characters into Fortnite.
Tim Sweeney,
too.
you're not good at this. Yeah, they put Jinx into Fortnite.
Yeah.
She's quirky.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course they would
She's
choose
like
her.
she's like the League of She's the League of Legends version of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
With,
So
with the name like Jinx, I was like,
Hey,
yeah.
you're like, I know it's quirky.
she
I was wondering why
she
I
has
thought
blue
I'm taking
hair
that
and
art.
throws bombs.
I was like, man, everyone's getting back into League. Weird.
Oh.
Jesus.
So Honor of Kings World was announced. Honor of Kings is one of those Chinese phone games that has 750 million users and makes more money than every other game in the entire world.
That explains making the subtitle
like-
of your game World in 2021.
And they're making like a big open world type action RPG game. Going by all like this, the trailer for this, the trailer for like that Monkey King one, which I think is another Chinese game.
Yeah,
Yes.
Wukong or Black
And then-
Legend,
and-
I think.
Wukong.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's like one or two more. Either all these trailers are super fake or every non-Chinese company is about to get worked this gen.
It could be somewhere
Like
between.
either these are all super fake or it's like, cause like, holy shit.
Yeah, they look
Is it just
incredible.
like, yeah, we have
I need
infinite
to
money
see this.
and we need to, I'll put the trailer in. I assume the gameplay quote unquote is fucking bullshit, and just a proof of concept. But they even added a HUD, so who the fuck knows? But it's like, yeah, this looks amazing.
Yeah. Don't trust those HUDs. Fucking Square Enix. They're like, this HUD's gonna animate. Like, stop that.
Part of me is like, well, the running animation is rough enough. That could be real.
Yeah, true. My God, the water looks insane though.
There's a reason it's 30 frames per second. This shit's 30 on like an RTX 3090, I bet.
Cool water.
They're like, we've ray traced everything. And I'm like, oh my God.
Why?
We're going to ship this on one
the
guy's
budget
PC.
of this game is 7. Yeah, see, we're missing the part where it's like, yeah, if you have a PS5 or the world's strongest PC, it'll look like this. It's gonna look a lot different on the phones it's also shipping on.
Yeah.
Although by the time this comes out, who knows how insane phones will be, like 2025 or whatever.
I swear, I need to see Genshin running on a top, like a flagship Android. Because every time I look up benchmarks, the iPhones are currently, it have been for a while, but it's gotten worse over time, are running loops. So I'm wondering, does Genshin just run like shit on top of the line Android phones? Like I need to see if somebody's put up a video because I need to know.
I don't know.
Yo, is that a
I don't
windfish? This trailer ends with a windfish.
Yeah,
Oh.
Jesus. Yeah, this game looks insane.
It's going to be really funny if shit like this coming out consistently this generation gets like more diversity in player bases and the generation grows and it just goes, wow, if you had spent hundreds of millions of dollars on something other than putting a bullet in someone's head.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going to be like, wow, all the Chinese companies are making like really big, ambitious single player type games. So they have an escape strategy if the Chinese government decides to crack down. And all the Western companies spent the whole gen making blockchain tech to integrate into Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they all plugged their brain in.
All the Western publishers put the blockchain up their ass and started checking it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 2026. And fucking the CEOs of Microsoft, EA, Activision, and Ubisoft will be like, we finished our big project and jack into the metaverse where any of this shit was successful.
I'm gonna shit my pants.
It's like they take the fucking shit from Haze and like the financial chart inverts and is going up instead of down.
And they do the exact smile the guy from the poster does.
I know. In the metaverse, my avatar just looks like that dude with 3D glasses.
Yacht Club said Shovel Knight Dig, like the puzzle thing that's kind of like a drill dozer. Or there's one other than drill dozer. It's like related to Dig Dug. I'm trying to remember what its named is.
Doug Dig?
Whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
They said it's basically done and it'll be out this winter, but not in 2021. So it'll probably be like January or February.
Cool.
Yeah, visually it was going for more of like a 16-bit instead of an 8-bit style. I remember looking at like trailers and going, this looks cool.
Man, this many years later, and I can pristinely recall the exact like Shovel Knight theme. What a good soundtrack.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great.
I had to restrain myself from busting into it.
That was Vert, right?
Yeah, that was Vert.
Yeah, man. The man does not miss.
No. Yeah, I can only imagine how much less I would like Mighty Switch Force if it didn't have his music.
Yeah, he's like in that top tier for like Western composers.
Yes.
It's where I'm like, yeah, put him in the retro video game thing.
Can we seal him and the Doom Eternal composer in a chamber and just see what comes out?
I would love to see that because it's always like put him in the platformer, the retro game, put Mick Gordon in anything where I want to start screaming.
Yes. Man, it would be really good if we saw Sony hire Mick Gordon sometime this year for something.
Yeah.
Or sometime this gen.
Twisted Metal.
Oh, yeah, baby!
Oh, yeah, that would be really good.
Oh, yeah, that's hype as shit. All right, Phil, let us down.
Bob's like, when they announced the new Twisted Metal, Dan was this loud.
Yeah. You're going Super Saiyan 3, every window in here cracks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If they ship a Twisted Metal, I don't care how bad it is. If it has a Mick Gordon soundtrack, I'm like, it's the best in the franchise. I'm sorry, everyone else. It's so good.
That dude only gets better.
Game of the year. It had Sweet Tooth on screen and played a Mick Gordon song. Game of the year. That's all I
and then
needed.
we can enjoy the video award-winning creator of God of War Blast's new Twisted Metal that'll go up on Jaffe's channel.
That would be really funny if he was, because he never seems jilted out of the God of War stuff. When leaks started coming out that they were making a Twisted Metal without him involved at all, he seemed legitimately upset, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he sounded very upset.
Yeah, I think it might be this thing of like, well, I still have that one. Oh.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, man.
I'm fervently of the belief fucking Jaffe needs to just make a Kickstarter Twisted Metal. I don't know why he's not looking into that. I think that would have panned out. He needs to get it done. He needs to get the Kickstarter done before they show the new game.
Yes.
Time is running out.
Maybe. Now, Dan, maybe he hasn't done that because he's a washed up crank.
No way.
No, he's a friend of the show.
No, he's just exhausted out of the fucking AAA game process, which I can understand. That is, I think, a reasonable thing to be at his age.
I think there's also a slight chance that he's a really good actor and he knew. And this all's been an
Oh
act.
yeah, I mean he did that for Twisted Metal, but nobody bought it.
For God
But-
of War, you mean?
No,
Oh, the
for
first-
Twisted Metal
yeah,
on
yeah.
PS3.
Oh.
Yes.
Where he was just like, it's not fucking Twisted Metal. Like he just acted angry anytime anyone brought it up. And he's like,
Oh,
would you
that-
please just concentrate on the thing I'm trying to tell you for like a year?
That would also be really funny.
Oh yeah.
But
And
we
that's
have to go to the sad place.
No, damn it.
We have to go.
We have to talk about real.
Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 both delayed. No fucking shit.
Yeah, no fucking
they
shit.
shot their leads.
I read this news. I read this news out loud. I got no fucking shit. I scroll down. I see Phil quote tweet. No fucking shit.
I see this news and I'm like, of course, every main player working on both of those games is gone.
Also, Diablo 4 got announced like before it even started development because they had to deflect from other bad news. And Overwatch 2 debatably should not be a separate game. It should just be $40 DLC or something.
Yeah, maybe they'll realize that with new management.
The Overwatch 2 situation has always been complicated, and then Kaplan
It's been
leaves.
bizarre. There's never been, I don't think there's ever been a case in fucking history other than this where it's like, yeah, they both have this one multiplayer mode that they share, but this version also has this additional mode and also new cosmetics, I think, but you can carry over your old cosmetics.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. This notion.
What are you doing?
And then Kaplan leaves this many years in it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we're yeah.
And it was almost looking
And-
like there was going to be some level of like, oh, it's getting closer because they're like, we're going to have the PvP of Overwatch 2 with like all the new stuff they added was going to be at their esports thing. So people could actually do matches through that. It's like, oh, maybe they're getting closer to some sort of beta. And then Kaplan's gone, and then Activision's on fire, and then everyone's leaving, and then McCree is a porn star. It's real bad.
And that was obvious.
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
So Jen O'Neill, the first female leader of Blizzard, co-leader, she wasn't even the actual leader of the studio, she was just co-leader of the studio, is leaving the company. She became co-lead of the studio 2 fucking months ago.
Yes, we covered this 2 months ago where Jen O'Neill and Mikey Barra, formerly of like Microsoft, they're like, we're going to have 2 co-leaders instead of like one person to replace, what was it, a J. Allen Brack or whatever. And
There's literally no good explanation.
Yeah, I
for
know,
this.
there
isn't
is
a
not.
single thing that does not make them look like total dog shit. Like it's either one, they're not trying to fix anything at all, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving. Go fuck yourself." Or she's like, "Wow, they really just put me in here as like a figurehead, and it's all Ibarra, and I don't have any authority whatsoever." So
This really reminds
It's
me
like-
of GameStop like a few years ago when they would cycle CEOs every 2 months.
oh
Yes.
God.
Yes, man, that was like, you could hear the World War II plane burning out as it crashes to the ground.
Right, it bounced a few times.
And they're like, this time GameStop's going to become church.
And that's when you heard Bugs Bunny start screaming as he's riding the plane down into the earth.
we're in this weird place where it's like it's like the heads at Activision, they must know at this point. Like it's this, I'm trying to think of the words here. Imagine that you have some sort of medical problem.
Okay.
And it's like we can do this surgery to fix it. Also pretend you're not in the United States where this isn't terrifying and you're going to be bankrupt now.
Okay.
So you go, I don't want to get surgery to fix this problem. I'm going to try every form of snake oil in existence
Yeah, that's some people, yeah.
yeah.
to try and alleviate this problem. It's like, we're going to try everything but actually fixing our shit. And the end result is that the company might end up just being dissolved and absorbed into Activision.
I mean, I don't know. They thought that horse dewormer was a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
It's even stupider than that, though. It's even dumber than the horse dewormer.
Yeah, I know. That was like 8 steps ago.
It's just like, you don't want to actually change anything because that's hard and will disrupt your projects even more than they're already disrupted. So you're going to try all these half measures that will add up to costing more and disrupting everything more and still not fix it.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's still absorbing companies into Blizzard. Like, just a few days ago, they find out what was that company that made Tony Hawk?
Vicarious Visions.
Yeah, Vicarious Visions just got eaten alive. It's like, what are you doing? That's obviously a nightmare box. You need to shutter.
Yeah, where they're like, we know we're doing only Blizzard projects, but we thought we'd be able to do our own thing. And it's like, no, you don't even keep your name.
You know, this lady that's leaving, Jen O'Neill, she was the head of Vicarious Visions, I think. So it might be some weird fucked up thing with her leaving. So they're like, no, you're now being absorbed because because the person who was, in fact, that might be part of why she's leaving.
Yeah, that's
like she's like, no, I don't want Vicarious Visions.
Them killing her child.
How are they this bad? God damn it.
This is real dire.
It was like not even a year ago that we were like, man, things are really looking up for Activision. I'm glad one Western publisher got it together this gen. They're like, what if we shit? What if we shit for a whole year?
Dan, we recorded Game of the Year in January where we're like, man, Activision's doing so great. And then we ruined that company.
Yeah.
We didn't even make it to that part of Game of the Year releasing before it began.
It happened days ahead of that specific episode.
I'm just sitting there like, it's like when Bugs Bunny ignites all the bullets in God, what's the little cowboy guy's name?
Yosemite Sam?
Yeah, Yosemite Sam. Like all the bullets in his belt just start going off.
That was the worst it's ever been for us.
Yeah.
Like, that somehow beat out, here's some good news. Let's talk about Skullgirls before it had really bad explosion
Yeah,
problems.
because it's like if that happened 5 times across a year.
5 times a week for 6 months, it feels like.
Like, what is happening? Come on, you can't... How many skeletons?
Don't worry, we haven't found the Lich yet.
It turns out that somewhere deep within Blizzard's offices is Nito, the undead lord from Dark Souls.
No!
Who just spawns skeletons endlessly.
God.
Well, that's all the news.
That's good. I'm glad it's fucking done.
I love when we save bad news for last, so we just come out going, great.
Glad it's over.
I got mud all over me.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
We don't know what's happening in the next week.
Not really, no.
Yeah, that's it. We don't know. We have streams that we're interested in doing. The question is whether or not we'll be able to do them. And Dan, on 2 hours of sleep at the end of the podcast workday, is not the man to make promises.
Especially not on one this long.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to throw it over to KZ. KZ, what are you doing?
I'm thinking about it, and there's like a small window until the death march begins of Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, SMT5, Endwalker for Final Fantasy XIV. And that window, I will be able to binge as much as I can, because I'm excited for it, Forza Horizon 5, which comes out
4 days from now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
God, reviews came out really early.
Because tomorrow, if you bought the special edition, you can start playing.
Yeah.
They even do that when Game Pass is involved. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so...
There's like...
Who is that much of a Forza freak when they have Game Pass? Because if you have an Xbox at this point, you probably have Game Pass.
There's probably some fucking special car shit in there. They're like, I gotta have that. I gotta get that.
Yeah, maybe.
I will be waiting, and then I'll be enjoying it, because I looked at footage and I went, how does it look like that? How'd they do that?
Oh, yeah, no, that game looks fucking spectacular. Very excited for it.
It's like the highest reviewed game of the year now.
Yes.
Beating out iconic game Bustafellas.
Yes, it is. It is way up there.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, well, oh, great, that's out, and so that way I know what they did this year in Call of Duty. I would like to check that out, but then Forza got delayed, and I'm like, no, I can't not use time. Oh no, I didn't actually want to play Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, that's out today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's out today.
What? Oh, it is.
And this isn't a like, oh, that looks so promising, I'm so excited. It's I need to know.
And no one is talking about it at all, because all of this Activision stuff is just dampening all of it.
And
Oh yeah, they can't. They even have to like limit their marketing a little bit on this, because you can't like pop up above the water level because someone's there with a gun.
I'm gonna bury this at the end here.
sure.
So the appliance guy comes over to install a working dishwasher.
Yeah, after 3 months of having a broken one.
We finally get that done. We pushed it through the landlord process. Bob,
Yeah.
you know what this dude tells me?
What's that?
He's really into COD.
Okay.
He wants to stream COD, but for now he's just playing with his friends. He tells me that leveling up guns is so hard in Warzone that he literally gets the new game every time, levels up the gun in that, and then brings it to Warzone.
God. I didn't
And
even
I'm
know
like-
you could do that.
I'm
but
like,
that
that's how they got you fuckers to buy the game.
yeah.
That is so evil.
I had no idea. I didn't know this system existed at all. It's so fucking mischievous.
Yes.
Dan,
Wow.
Dan, I'm going to need you to buy this new Call of Duty because I want to see it,
Uh-huh.
but I don't want to buy it.
Yeah, if I buy it, I'm buying it physically, so that way I can play it and then maybe hand it to Bob so he can play it and then we can trade it the fuck in.
Is this a guaranteed to love it title?
God, I hope! I'll just be like, oh, Call of Duty, delicious gulp.
Yeah, where they're like,
one bite.
yeah, you return it in 48 hours and it's free.
Yeah, if fucking GameStop didn't have their COVID hours still, maybe they would be open long enough for me to get there when they open, buy it, stream the whole thing, go back and return it.
That I think they're back to normal hours. What did
Ooh.
we can
There's hope. I was so proud of you managing to win The Last of Us 2 that way.
man playing all the way through COD on day one would be really funny.
It would be really, really funny.
It would be. It would be really funny to just chug that motherfucker. Yeah, it comes out at midnight.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, what are you doing, Phil?
Yeah, over there.
I'm working on I'm working on various things in addition to chugging Final Fantasy 14 so that I can hopefully get the
I
Windwalker
assumed
when
you
it
were
comes
just going
out.
to chug Shadowbringers in like 1 week.
Yeah, I'm going to be chugging Shadowbringers, but I'm also working on a couple things
Yeah.
that maybe you'll see at some point in the future.
But be excited. You're about to hit the content where it's like when you hit a dungeon, it's like, would you like to just use your scions instead of real people? Which, we'll see if you like that.
I might. I play a tank, so it's not really a big deal. Half the time I click join this dungeon and it instantly pings and yells at me. I press OK right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably better than doing the party member shit because it's like you die and then immediately fades out. It's like, no, the healer AI will not heal you. It's just over. It's done.
Bob, the Call of Duty Vanguard Metacritic is currently 79.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's not good. That's not good when you're Call of Duty.
Yeah, the game isn't even out yet. It still has an hour and 47 minutes, and it's 79. Everyone seems to consistently say, yeah, it's a bad campaign.
Oh,
You have to stream it.
no wonder they didn't talk about it basically at all, other than that one thing we saw at
You
E3.
need to stream it so it can appear in Game of the Year, but in a bad way, unlike Adler.
Yeah, I know. What balance, right? What karmic balance? Last year gets Adler, this year gets apparently just a terrible campaign. Great.
Yeah, but it has that girl boss, so you can make a lot of jokes about her fighting against Activision Blizzard employees.
Hey, Bob, let's look at it this way, okay?
Okay.
Let's say if we do something absolutely off the goop, and that's our Friday stream.
Yeah.
If we do that, there's no world in which it's more boring than the Order 1886.
Yeah, it's impossible.
So true.
Absolutely impossible.
It's true. It's true. How exciting. See, KZ, you just got to be optimistic.
See, I'm optimistic. The set pieces there look cool. The Order looked like a fake video game made of Ambien.
My PS4 is depressed. How do I fix this?
I rated you right when I saw a title card for a chapter in the Order. I come out here. It's been 3 minutes, and you're like, I think the chapter is almost done. I think that was all the gameplay. And I'm like, how? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, you blitz through 3 chapters within like
40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes, and it's mostly cutscenes.
Yeah.
It's
the
insane.
bad cutscenes. So, yeah, I think Call of Duty Vanguard's going to be a real upgrade from last Friday's stream.
Yes.
Very excited. Big thumbs up.
Yeah.
You know who's going to love this game? The Coddler.
The Godler.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Big Thing to Mention. If you would like to support us, head on over to www.patreon.com/gbpodcast, where you can get extra podcasts and early access to our anime podcast, Chugging Bleach and Mondo Cool. Head on over there and become a $5 backer or podlord today. This month's GigaBoots executive producers are Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Starfalcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Dobo Muito Real, Ace Gundam Pilot Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, Zilter, and Virmvarn. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these gamers. If you want to be a gamer or ascend to God Kinghood, then head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.